Close the doors of your mind from all carnal will, all carnal thought, all deception, all the seeds of Satan, all that's been sown throughout the week, all of the hatred, the jealousy, the envy, the strife, the complaining, the pride, the arrogance, the conceitedness within oneself. Bring your mind to balance within. Close the doors of your mind from all carnal will, all carnal thought, all emotions, all desires, all fears, and all laziness, and all doubt. And bring your mind to center. And bring your focus to center. In the center of your frontal lobe, in your corpus callosum, in your 12 cranial nerves. Bring your mind to balance, your body to balance, in your hands and your feet that govern your whole body, in your composite of your sentient self. For today is the day of freedom. Today is the day of warning. Today is the day to be glad and rejoice that Yahuwah is giving another Shabbat, that we may cease from all our ways and our labors and our thoughts, that we may not do our own ways, find our own pleasures, nor seek to do our own thing, that we may ride upon the high places upon the wings of the wind, that He may feed us with a call in our higher nature and our higher thought, and that we may allow us to walk in the life that He wants us to walk in. Our Father, Yahuwah, Elohim, and His Ben Yahusha, who helps govern the Shaly'shy Shamash. So today we acknowledge the one who made all the har of the earth, all of the har of the earth, the mountains, and the nahar, the shimmering light that sends on top of the river when it flows, when the sun meets it in the noontime. The one who gives life and understanding to all creatures and creeping things, and behemoth and birds, and the shama'ims, and the oath, and the god, the fish of the sea, the one who gives all consciousness to all human beings and all thought, the one who sends the lying spirits, the one who sends the deceptive spirits throughout the earth, and then one who allows the kings and the rulers and the princes to be in power, that they may be set apart, given to those who are the children of disobedience, the children of Ahal. So as we walk in this world, and as we walk upon the wings of the wind, and we lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily puts us in a state of stagnation and drunkenness, we move according to the Debar. We move according to what's written in the accounts of the Ruach. Not only the accounts of the Ruach that's in the composites of the books that you was handed to when you were born into this world, came into this matrical world, but also the books that they taken out, the books they removed, and even the books within yourself that you haven't even written yet. For today we live in a world where things are happening that are not even written in the Torah. And we look at all the things that are happening, even these trickeries of Satan and these books that they handed over. But we know that the things that we have, the things we have within ourselves, must be brought forth. Right? So today is the day that we can move in that direction, to know that this life that we live, our own life, is a composite of experiences that someone in the next generation may need to know. Right? So as we move forward in kindness, ahab, joy, peace, patience, meekness, temperance, amuna, but we in no wise clear the guilty. Not only for ourselves, we don't clear the guilt within ourselves, the things we've done wrong, but also in nobody else. For that is just. Right, so this is the ODE Shalom, ODE 34, 1 through 6. There is no hard way where there is a simple heart, no barrier for upright thoughts, nor a barrier for upright thoughts. When you look at your consciousness, your thoughts, your reasons within yourself. Look at yourself, you say a simple heart. We're not talking about a simple heart to commit sin. We're talking about the simplicity of Yahushua Mashiach. Right? Verse 2 says, no whirlwind in the depth of enlightened thought. So when you have enlightened thought, enlightened consciousness, you're going to reap a whirlwind, like the book of Nahum, like the Nabi Nahum said. He said, he that sowed the wind will reap a whirlwind. You're going to reap a whirlwind in your life. You're going to reap no whirlwind coming through and blowing your whole life away, unless Yahuwah is testing you to see what's in your heart, or you're being punished for something you've done. And he sends Satan all of his spirits after you. Right? Verse 3 says, where one is surrounded entirely by a pleasing country, there is nothing dividing him. Right? When you look at green pastures, we look at places where we can It's pleasing country. It's green pastures. It's things that you can eat, right? Just for an animal, just like a natural animal that goes through the field, and they're able to eat the actual grass in the earth. They're able to grab and hold to the food that Yahuwah has provided for them because of the rain and snow that came down from the Shamayim in winter and fall. Winter, is there early winter, late winter, early summer, late summer, right? So we're looking at we're right in between late summer and early summer. Verse 4 says, the likeness of that which is below is that which is above. So we look at being in the image and likeness of the one who is above. Except if one is born from above, you cannot see the Malkuth. You can't see it because you got to be born from above. You got to be born from higher thought. Verse 5 says, for everything is from above, and from below there is nothing. So just like rain and snow come down and you can actually see what's been sown in the earth, that's the only way you're going to see it. You got to have rain, snow, and you got to have what? The sun. If you don't have the sun, you can't see anything that's in the earth, right? But it says, but it is considered to be by those in whom there is no understanding. People on the earth think they've created everything. Because you don't have no binakum with the to understand that there is a higher order in the higher sephirots of this world, of the worlds, that sits above the cosmos, above the first Shamayim, above the fifth Shamayim, above the seventh, and going always even past the 13th Shamayim, the infinite one, right? Yahuwah himself, with his son Yahusha. Verse 6 says, Khan has been revealed for your salvation, right? This is how you say a Khan. This is an indefinite period of a probationary time where one can actually do what? Make preparations, because salvation is revealed for your salvation, because there's a time where Yahuwah is going to come and destroy the earth. He's going to send fire on the earth. Not only literal fire, but his debar. And that's here. Right? Khan has been revealed for your salvation. Believe, live, and be saved. He says, believe, Aman, Kai, and be saved, Yasha. Right? He said, be saved. Right, so look at 1 Corinthians 11:3, ESV. Right, because there are many translations. There's so many of them. Some people can't even come to a understanding of it. Right, so we're going to stick with the ESV. Right, so, but I am afraid that as the serpent deceived Kawur, by his cunning your thoughts may be led astray from sincere, pure devotion to Mashiach Yahusha. Right, so you look at that word for sincere is haplotis, right, in Greek. But it says singleness, sincerity, generosity, bountifulness, simplicity. Right, we talk about he said with a simple heart. Right, he said there with an upright thought. He said there's always with a simple heart. There's always upright thoughts. Right, so we look at simplicity. We look at the simplicity of pure devotion to Yahushua Mashiach. Why? Because that is the no barrier for upright thought. Like we're talking about upright thoughts, our consciousness, our inward man, our inner being, right? Because it's not a hard way. Because there's no hard way with a simple heart. Right? When you look at simple, Yahushua said, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Right? Sincere, pure devotion, right? Simplicity, generosity. How much generosity this is to extend salvation to someone who doesn't even deserve it, who don't even deserve to even have life. He said, don't even deserve to have anything, but yet he's extended it to you. But then you have to have pure devotion to him, because he is your betrothed, and you're a virgin. You're supposed to be a virgin, and guess what? He's a virgin, and if you go outside of this relationship, and guess what? It's adultery, right? Just like any other thing, just like the Torah says, right? This truth of the gospel of truth of the Marim or Mary, the nature of sin and the good, right? This is the gospel of Mary, like they say. The truth, I put the truth of Marim, right? That's what it says. When we read here, the Adon master replied, there is no such thing as sin. Rather, you yourselves are what produces sin, when you act in accordance with the nature of adultery. Why? Because he said, when you start to go outside of the relationship, then you act in the nature of adultery. Just like you betrothed to Yahushua Mashiach. You're supposed to be presented as a pure virgin. You're supposed to be presented as something that's without spot or wrinkle. You're supposed to have upright thoughts and intelligence. But it says right here, he said the nature of adultery, which is called sin. That's going outside of something I gave you. He said, I gave you a covenant. He said, that's called sin. For this reason, the good came among you, pursuing the good that belongs to every nature. It will set, he said, it will set it between its roots. Then he continued. He said, this is why you get sick and die, because you love what deceived you. So he said, you love what deceived you, so you get sick and you die. He said, what? I loved the nakash in the garden. I loved that food, that meat that just made me sick. I love that dish that makes me sick. I love that. He said, what? You now become what? It's deceiving you, and now you become what? You love it, and you get sick and you die. That's the same thing when we look at sin. You love it, and guess what? You get sick and you die. Because the wages of sin is death. I mean, the wages of adultery is death, right? Anyone who thinks should consider these matters. He said, anybody who uses their mind, their thoughts, their consciousness, their higher thought. Because if you one of the two, you look at a natural way of getting sick and you look at a spiritual way of getting sick. Right, this is Psalms 147, 1-6. Praise Yahuwah, for it is good to sing praises to our Elohim, for it is pleasant, and a song of praise is fitting. Yahuwah builds up Jerusalem, he gathers the outcasts of Yasharal. He heals the brokenhearted, he binds up their wounds. He determines the number of the stars, he gives them all their names. Great is our Adon, and abundant in power. His understanding, his tabun is beyond measure. So we look at all of the life that we have, and we look at all the times you've been brokenhearted, you've been wounded. Right? You look at all the times this happened, and you think about it. He said, I come to heal. I'm gonna build up Jerusalem, and I'm gonna gather the outcasts of Yasharal. And I'm going to heal all your broken hearts, and I'm going to heal all your wounds. He said, it's good to sing praises about me doing that for you. It's good to sing songs about me building up Jerusalem and gathering the outcasts and healing the brokenhearted and healing your wounds. It's good to sing about that, and baracking Yahuwah for that. But he said, great is our Adon, and abundant in power. His understanding is beyond, he said, beyond measure, right? The word for beyond measure is mikar. It's innumerable. It's, how they say it's infinite. It's infinite, right? It's immeasurable, right? It's infinite. A number, definitely. It's you can't even number it. If you can number every single leaf on every single tree in the world, I don't think anybody can do that. Because leaves fall down, and then a new one grows back. So if you can number all of those leaves on every single tree and the whole arats on the surface and in the center of the earth, and on the other worlds, he said his understanding is infinite. Right? I'm sure you can't do that, but that's how great his understanding is. It's beyond measure. It's beyond you. It's beyond you, who you are as a human being. It's higher than you. It's higher than your thoughts. Or you can look at a whole ocean. You can look at a whole ocean. He say a sea, right? Every single splash right here, he know it all by name. Can you do that? Think about all the water molecules in the world. He said his understanding is infinite. It goes on forever. Can you number every single wave cap? Can you number every single water molecule? What about all the sand at the bottom? There's so much sand down there, you can't even count it. He said his understanding is infinite. It's just like the sea. It's just like the yam of the earth. It's infinite. It goes on forever. It's immeasurable. You can't measure every single ounce of water on the planet, on earth, on the arats, and in the center of the earth, and even the well water that flows under the rivers, under the streams, under the earth. Even the rivers that flow underneath Greenland, the rivers that flow underneath Australia, or what they call American, or what they call Kush, right? Or these other places that they renamed after wars and rumors of wars over the past 6,000 years. All of the things that you see, you can't number it all. So therefore, bow to the one who sits in the highest Shamayim, because he's the one who made everything, the creator of all things. He gives life and understanding to all beings and all creatures, and there's no way you can number it. So for a fool, we'll be fools as human beings to think that we're more intelligent than this being in the highest Shamayim. Right? Right. This is 2nd Enoch, Hanuk 43, Pseudepigrapha, Volume 1. My children, every just deed and every just decree and every just decision I have checked, just as Yahuwah commanded me. So he said, I checked it all. I looked around. I looked around at every single person, every single thing, every single religion, every single person, and I looked at all the ways that I could see, and I started to see and I perceived what men and human beings are doing on the earth. Right, both male and female and children, and why children are the way they are, and why people are the way they are. And he says, good what? In all things I discovered differences, right? Because you can compare and contrast between your life and other people's life, and you say, I have a similarity with this person I hate because they have the same similarity of my life, and I hate them for no reason at all, but they did the same thing I did. You have things in common with that person. Or you have, I've never done that, but I've done this with this other person now, so you have something in common. Everybody has something in common, whether it's good or evil. Right? He said, I discovered differences. For just as 1 year is more honorable than another year, so one person is more honorable than another person. And that's the same way you look at the world. You look at your investments, you look at your money, you look at your increases, your decreases, everything that happens throughout your life, it's the same exact thing. Nothing is the same every year. But like, man, I'm finna do the same thing I did last year. When it comes to my life, 1 year was more honorable. I'm gonna try to exceed that. Right? But here we go. Guess what it says? So one person is more honorable than another person. Some because of much property. Because I own a lot of land. I own a piece of Mars. Because that's what they're trying to do now. I own a piece of airspace. I own an island out there in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I own an island out there in the Atlantic Ocean that nobody know about. He said some because of much property. Right? Some again because of wisdom of heart. Because they have a lot of chokmah on the inside. Because a lot of things that one can know. You can acquire a lot of things now in this world. There's so many books, podcasts, there's so many different documentaries. Man, there's so much things you can learn. You can fill your heart with it. And guess what? If you fill your heart with it enough and you're the first person, where everybody's going to honor you, you're going to be this great person in the world. And you're going to have all this knowledge and everybody's going to be like, man, look at this person. You better make sure you're not deceiving nobody. Right? Because what it says, some because of singular intelligence. Why? Because they have this intelligence. Oh, I'm good. I'm a good engineer. I'm a good doctor. I'm a good nurse. I'm a good musician. I know all the scales. Matter of fact, I know the scales of this world and the other worlds. Right? Because of singular intelligence. Some again because of craftiness. Right? They're real crafty. They skilled at tricking people. Right? Or they're skilled at getting people to do things. Right? By using the very same bar and using that to get people to do things even though it's in error. He said, some because of craftiness, some again because of silence of lips. Why? Because they're quiet. I'm like, man, that person's silent. He said, even a fool when he is silent is considered intelligent. He's like, man, that person's silent. Right? Some again because of purity, right? Because they washed themselves. We talked about washing our hands. Last time he said what? We talked about washing our hands about 6 weeks ago. Why? We talked about cleaning our hands. He said, something because of purity. He said, but you can only clean the outside of the cup. But inwardly, you feel a dead man's bones, right? Some because of strength. They're real strong. They got a lot of muscle strength, natural strength. Some because of handsome appearance, a beautiful appearance, a woman, a female, a model, right? Because they look good. Some again because of their youth, right? Because they're strong. Youthful people can move and do things that older people can't do. It's because of their youth. Some again because of penetrating mind, right? They're able to go through and able to speak something that goes straight into somebody's heart. It's penetrating. They got a penetrating mind. It says some gain because of bodily appearance. Some again because of bodily appearance, because you look good. You got good curves. Like Sarah when she went into Mizraim. or Rebecca when she went into Abimelech's territory, right? Or like Hadassah when she went into the king to see the king. He's like, man, something because of beautiful appearance, or Yehuda, or Judah, right? Or Daud, or David, or Shaluma, right? Or goodly appearance, right? Some again because of abundant feelings, right? They're always emotional. They're always crying. They say they're always caring and loving. So you can have all that. Even though these things are heard on every side, nevertheless, there is no one better that fears Yahuwah. The one who fears the infinite one. So you can do all of that carnally. And guess what? You don't fear Yahuwah. He's saying ain't nobody better than the person who fears Yahuwah. He will be most glorious in that age. So what age are you living in? Both man and female. Are you living in the right age? Are you living in the age right now? And do you fear Yahuwah? And are you the most glorious right now? Or you say Kabod getting in this age right now? If not, you ain't fearing Yahuwah. He said, if not, you're not fearing Yahuwah. This Proverbs Matsah 1:22 through 31. How long, O simple ones, or pati, will you love simplicity? He say pati. How long will you scoffers delight in their scoffing and fools hate knowledge? Right? You know why they don't like it? Because fools hate it. Those are stupid people. If you turn at my reproof or tukacha, behold, I will pour out my ruach to you. So you saying, if he reproves you, tukah, he's saying tukah, he gonna what? He gonna pour his ruach on you. The people say, I want the ruach. Well, you're gonna have to get reproved. He said, I will make my debar known to you. See, I'm gonna make my words known to you after that, after I reprove you. Because guess what he said? Because I have called and you refuse to listen. He's like, I've been calling you with my words. I've been reproving you. He said, you refuse to listen. I have stretched out my hands and no one has heeded. He's like, I've been stretching out my hands. People saying, what is this debar? It's his hand. You ever had your parents hit you? He's like, man, he hit me. He's like, your parent hit you. He's like, yeah, he hit you hard. He said, why he hit me? Because I'm going to pour my ruach on you. And I want to make my word known to you. That's why I'm hitting you. Because you have ignored all my counsel. And would not, none of my reproof or tukah. Guess what? He's like, man, you wouldn't listen to me. Therefore, I will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your terror strikes you. When your terror strikes you like a storm and your calamity comes like a whirlwind. We just talked about it. He said, there's no whirlwind in upright thought. He said, there's no whirlwind in upright thought. He said, there's no hard way with a simple heart. He's like, man, I'm trying to get you to stop. So he's saying, come. He said, I will come like a whirlwind. When your distress and anguish come upon you, he said, after that, I'm just going to laugh at you. Verse 28 says, then they will call upon me and I will not answer. He's like, then you're going to call upon me. And I ain't going to answer. They will seek me diligently and they will not find me. It's like when Yahushua got up on the third day. What happened? They were looking for him. He said, why you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, but he's risen. He's gone. They couldn't find him. He's like, you're going to seek me. You ain't going to find me. Verse 28 now says, because they hated knowledge. You hate the odds. You hate knowledge. And did not choose the fear or yirah of Yahuwah. Because there ain't no one greater. There's no one greater than they that fear Yahuwah. Guess what he says? Verse 30 says, would have none of my counsel and despise all my reproofs. Why? He said, I'm trying to counsel you and give reproof. Why? He's saying, I'm going to pour my ruach on you. Verse 31 says, therefore they shall eat the fruit. They shall what? They shall eat the fruit of their way. He said, you're going to eat it. He said, you're going to eat the fruit of your own way. And have their fill of their own devices. He's saying, where you heard that at? He told Adam, he said, every herb in the sea is going to be for food. And he said, produces fruit with seed in itself. He said, you're going to eat that. And guess what he said? He said, you're going to be filled with your own devices and your own thoughts. your own devices. Why? Because when Yahuwah saw that man was in the earth, he said every makashaba and every thought of their devices of their heart were evil continually. You got to. Right? He said, how long you simple ones, that word for simple ones is pati. He said simplicity. You foolish people. Simplicity. Well, he says open-minded. Why would he say open-minded? Because after Yahuwah gives something, an instruction, one opens their mind to a different instruction. And then he says, you opened your mind, you open-minded people. Why do you think I would say close the doors of your mind? Why? Because people are too open-minded. He said what? Too silly. Right? Just like that, seducible. Like you easily seduce. People can easily seduce you. You know how people can easily seduce people? Because your mind he said you ain't closing the doors of your mind. You just open your mind up to everything. He said that's why you easily seduce. He said you silly. He said you foolish and simple. Why? Because that's what foolish and simple people do. Man, woman, and children. That's why you think young girls, teenagers go on an app and start conversating with a person they don't even know, and then they go meet them without their parents knowing, because they're seducible. They're silly. They're open-minded. Because they hate knowledge. They hate reproof and counsel. So therefore they go do their own devices. They use their own device and they go do their own devices and wicked imaginations, and then then something happened to them, and then now you reap a whirlwind on life and nobody can find you. And then you'll find yourself, some people have died too, in a ditch. Because they hate knowledge. They don't want to know. No, I don't want to know. The world is just a beautiful place. There's no such thing as serial killers and murderers and axe murderers and people who cut people's heads off and do things crazy in this world. There's no such thing. No. I don't want to hear that. I just want to be joyful and glad, because they hate knowledge. He said simple-minded. Right? He said, how long? How long you simple-minded? He said what? He said, you scoffers. How long will you scoff? Because that's all you do. People saying what? How long will scoffers delight in scoffing? The word for scoffers is lutes. Lutes. It means to scorn, to talk arrogantly. So after somebody gives you counsel and wisdom, guess what? They begin to talk arrogantly. They begin to mock, deride, inflated. Because you know what arrogance is? An overbearing way. They get so inflated, they start mocking. They get arrogant. They mouth at it. They start to mouth at it. They start to scoff, intercede, mock, marker. Guess what it is? Guess what it also means? It's the teachers. Even teachers do it. It don't matter. You're a man, you're a mother, you're a father, you're a mother, you're a daughter. Even teachers itself. It doesn't matter. You all got to teach at one point. Even older children got to teach the younger children what their parents don't like. Guess what? He said you become a mocker, right? Even ambassadors do it. People that are supposed to be ambassadors for Mashiach, they start even scoffing. Everybody starts scoffing. You know, how long you be scoffing? How long? Right? Interpreters, right? Everybody can interpret. Right? I can interpret numbers and sounds and what they're doing in the world. He said, man, you scoff at Yahuwah's correction, his counsel. Right? He said, how long he got that word for scoffers, and you got that word for scoffing. Right? So you got two different words. It's latzon. Then after they do it, they start bragging. Scorning. They start bragging. Derision. They have you in derision. It'll have you in derision. He said, why? He said, I'm trying to stop. I'm trying to pour my ruach on you. I'm trying to reveal my words to you, but I can't. Because you keep mouthing at my reproof, my tukeka, right? That word for reproof is tukeka, right? They say tuka, right? Rebuke, correction, reproof, punishment, chiding, correction. Again, he's like reasoning. Why? Because once he reproves, you can reason within your thoughts. You can reason within yourself. Correction, right? A rebuke. All these are a part of it. Why? Because he's saying, I'm trying to reprove you for what? From your own devices. From your own counsel. That's all he's trying to do. The word for devices in that verse is Matsah. Matsah. It means your own counsel, your own plans, your own counsel, your own purpose. I'm trying to reprove you and to stop you. That's all he's trying to do. Because I want to pour my ruach on you, and I want to reveal you more information, more knowledge, more binah, more kukma, da'ah. Because you know fools hate knowledge. They hate it. Because they're a fool, they're stupid. Especially when the infinite one is telling you. People saying, you want to stop it, you want to reprove, you want to listen to the infinite one? Right? The infinite one, right? But he said they hated not. He said, but because they hated knowledge and did not choose to fear Yahuwah. That word is for choose is bakar. Bakar. It means to choose, to elect, to decide, to be chosen. They say we didn't choose. You didn't decide to choose to be a chosen, acceptable or appoint, preferred. They decided they didn't want to be chosen. Not no more. We don't. I don't want to listen to that. Okay, then I can't pour my ruach on you. How you gonna get a double portion of his anointing? Like they say, double portion of his ruach, and you don't want to be reproved. Because in order for you to go get the ruach, you gotta be reproved, and then when you're gonna go to another level, you're gonna have to get rid of some stuff. So I'm gonna have to stop you from doing this plan, this purpose, this and that, in order for you to go to the next level. There's no way in the world you're gonna go to the next level without being reproved, without being corrected. Even a master samurai or master shepherd or master farmer or master warrior, they all have masters, and then those masters are higher than them. And then when they do certain moves or certain movements and they have off balance, they hit them, they smack them, they smack their arm, they smack their leg, and they bring it to alignment. They smack the bottom of their feet. They make sure everything's in alignment. Like, you're not going to go to the next level in mastery if you don't want to get reproved. There's no way in the world. There's no way. How? Because you got to do it the correct way. Wasted movements. Like, there's a lot of wasted movements, wasted time, wasted a lot of things, right? Like you do a fight class, right? You do self-defense, and you do the move, and then the person be like, hey, you're wasting your movement. You don't need to over-exaggerate your shoulder. You don't need to do that, because the person been doing it for almost 100 years. So why would you not take the correction in order for you to go to the next level in what you're trying to learn? It's the very same thing, right? It's the very same thing, right? Verse 31 says, therefore they shall eat the fruit. They're going to eat the what? They're going to eat the pari, the fruit of their own way. It's the fruit, produce of the ground. What do you mean produce of the ground? They're going to eat the fruit of their actions. The fruit, the foliage, the fruits of what they do. I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own way. Because them your seeds you sown. He like, those are your seeds. Those ain't my seeds. My seeds got a little bit more power to it. Them your seeds. I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own way. He said, I thought where you see that word pari at? That same word you see pari, you see it in Bereshit, Genesis chapter 129. Yahuwah said, behold, I have given every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with its seed in its fruit, pari, you shall have them for food. Yahuwah like, man, I'm going to let you eat your own fruit. Because, I gave you seed to sow, and those seeds you sowing ain't my seed. So therefore, I'm going to let you eat this fruit of your own way. And therefore, when you eat it, and you're going to be filled with it too. You be saying, man, why I'm keep going? Why my mind is to keep doing this and that? He's saying, because I'm letting you be filled with your own devices, and you eating the fruit of your own seeds you sow in your mind. He's saying, you're going to eat it. He said, go ahead and eat. And guess what? You'll be just in alignment, just like the beginning, but it won't be like you think. He said, man, you be just like cool in the garden? He's like, yep. You're going to eat the fruit of your own way. He said, you're going to do it. He said, you're going to do it. This is Psalms 19, 1 through 6. Psalms, Tahalim 1 through 6. The Shamash declare the kabod of all Yahuwah, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork. Right? So you look at the constellation. Right? You look at he say Mim Shala. You look at the Ma'or Gador. He say Ma'or Gador, greater light, lesser light. Right? Look at for days, seasons, years. He say Shana, Muads. He say Yums, days and years. Right? The Shamash declare his handiwork. It says day today pours out speech. Right? So look at it pouring out speech. Look at it rain and snow. He said it pours out speech. And night to night reveals what? Knowledge. So if he pours it out during the day, that means he rebuking you. And then he says, I want to reveal what? Knowledge to you. I want to reveal knowledge. Guess what it says? There is no speech, nor are there words whose voice is not heard. Their voice goes out through all the earth. So people saying, how do somebody speak one thing in one place and they go always to other worlds? He said, a winged creature going to carry my voice and going to tell the matter. There are other beings, unseen beings that can carry people's voices. They'll be talking all the way in another place in the middle of the woods, on the top of a mountain, in the middle of the desert. And guess what? A winged creature grabbed that voice and just like a radio frequency signal and carry it to somebody else. And they'd be like, man, where you heard that from? Guess what it says? The voice goes out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them he has set a tent. In them he has set a tent, Ahal, for the sun, for the Shamash. Inside of their tent, he has set the sun inside of it, the Shamash. Inside of your tent, inside of your body. Because he said, know ye not that your body is the temple of the Ruach Chadash? But he said, take my reproof and I'm going to pour my Ruach on you. Because don't you know your body is a temple? I'm just trying to stop you from your plan. He said, in your tent, I'm going to put the sun. And you know what the sun does? Verse 5 says, which comes out like a bridegroom leaving his chamber. And like a strong Gabor or a warrior or mighty man runs or roots its course with joy. Its rising is from the end of the Shamaim and its circuit to the end of them, and there is nothing hidden from the heat. What are we in right now? Oh, we're in Keats, and we're moving towards summer solstice. And just like the sun, he said, I put the sun inside of the tent. And inside the tent, guess what it does? It comes up, it rises and sets just like a bridegroom leaving his chamber in the morning time. Right? And then what? It goes out like a mighty warrior, and guess what? It runs its course with joy. It says, and guess what it says? And he said, you can't even hide from the heat. Just like today, right? You go to certain places, it be hot, right? So that word for runs is roots. You know how they say you rooting? Who you rooting for? And you be like, where did they get that from? Who you rooting for? Who you rooting for? Right? He said roots. The word for runs is roots. To run swiftly. He said this mighty man runs swiftly. He's a runner. He said, when this tent with the sun inside of it, this person's a runner. People saying, why Yahushua said, if your brother compare you, go 1 mile, go 2. But he said, man, these people be running. But back in the day, we had runners. We didn't have the mailman. We didn't have UPS. We didn't have Federal Express. Like, a person had to run across the whole world to bring that message. Get on the horse, and the horse had to run across the whole world. He said, runners run swiftly, to rush, to stretch out. Courier runs, right? You see courier runs, right? He said LTL truckload shipments, like they say. Dry van shipment, reefer van shipments, right? Same thing. Courier shipment, courier runs. He says quickly stretch out, the guard running. He said they do it all the time. He said, and they do it in courses with joy. But he said he roots, they run out. He said this thing runs out. He said he's going to enter his what? He's going to roots, and its course with joy is Orak. Its way of living. Path. Childbearing. You know how it is today. Most women don't want to do that. They be like, man, look at here. I ain't doing that. Right? He says wayfaring man, highway, right? Why? Because you know why? You know why people don't want to do these things? Way of living. And he said, I don't want a tent with the sun inside, the SU, the sun. It's going to move on its course. And it come out just like a bride chamber, like a bridegroom out of a chamber. And he said it runs its course with joy. It will rock. Why? Because on the inside, he said, man, it's making you do things within. But it says a highway, a wayfaring man. He said a highway shall be done away. Maybe she called the way of Qahalath. He said the unclean shall not pass over it. It shall be for the wayfaring man. And guess what he said? He ain't going to err. His way of living is not going to err. But he said, man, I'm trying to turn you from your purpose. That's all he's trying to do. But he said what? Right? So that word for it, he says it is rising. He says its rising is from the end of the Shamash and its circuit to the end of them, and there is nothing hidden from the heat. Right? That word for circuit is takufa. It means coming around. Right? You know how they say what goes around comes around. Just like we just moved on the social circles. What goes around is coming right back around. Everything died, it looked like it, but it ain't dead if you look at it the right way. Right? We're talking about time, and we're talking about a space, a circuit, a course, a revolution of time. A revolution of a full 364-day cycle. It says, guess what it says? It says rising from one end of the Shamaim and its circuit to the end of them. Right? Just like the sun comes out of the portal. And guess what? It goes to 364. It says rounding the circuit. It says rounding the circuit. And guess what it's going to produce? What's been sown inside of you. It's going to produce. How is a seed, when you plant a seed in the ground, how is it going to produce what's inside? How are you going to eat the fruit of your own ways? You can't eat the fruit of your own ways until the sun comes. That's why he put a sun in your tent. You know what it says? It says its rising is from the end of the Shamaim and its circuit to the end of them, and there is nothing hidden from its heat. Why? You put some seed out here, you put some weeds, you put some stuff out here. When that sun come up and it rains, it doesn't matter whatever seed you got inside of you, it's going to rise up, and then that seed going to rise up within you, and then those plants going to rise up, and your behavior going to rise up. Or you have a child on the inside of you, and you have a child on the inside, you're a childbearing woman, and guess what's going to happen? It's going to grow. If you have the sun in your tent, it's going to grow. You need heat for it to grow. People say, I don't want to see the sun. I don't want no sun. I don't like the sun. I'm like, if you dark-skinned melanin, how you don't like the sun? That's your pigmentation. That's your pigmentation in your skin. How do you think a person goes? You ever notice that people be in the sun a lot, or people who live by go outside, they be like, man, your skin is tan. Man, you look like you look radiant. But he said what? Nothing can be hidden from its heat. When the sun on the inside, it can't be hidden from the heat, because what the heat gonna do? It's gonna make those seeds come up. And guess what's gonna happen? You can't be hidden, because all of the behaviors within you is gonna rise up. Once the sun comes, it's gonna rise up. It's gonna come out of you. You're gonna see it within yourself, right? So you see him, when the sun comes, what happens? Things start to grow. That's been sown. The seeds that's been sown gonna start to grow. Yahuwah is like, I'm gonna let you eat the fruit of your own will, and your own devices, and your own imagination, and your own makashah. Can you say, because you hate knowledge and you hate my reproof, you hate my tukah, so therefore I'm gonna let you go and I'm gonna let you grow into this. And that's what we're moving into. People saying, what's the grain offering you're moving into? The grain offering is their symbolization of what you actually allow to be sown in your mind that you produce throughout the years. So if you sown some hatred, jealousy, envy, strife, complaining, criticism, pride 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 months ago, a month ago, then guess what happens? It starts to come up. It's going to start rising in your life. It's going to start rising in your thoughts. It's going to start rising the whole experience of it. If you sold it, guess what? Yahuwah is like, I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own way. He said, if you lazy and you don't like people saying, I don't like farming, then guess what? He said, I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own way. But when the sun comes, everything starts growing. Right? He said the sunflower starts to come out. The crops and the spinach and the cilantro and the mustard greens and the okra and the watermelons and everything that you grow starts to come up. The mangoes, right? Everything starts to grow. When the sun comes, he said, I put a sun in the tent, in the Ahal. He said, I put the sun. He said, I prepared a tent for the sun. Right, so you look at the sun, you say, what? You can see daisies, right? These are daisies. Daisies open and close with the sun. They open and close when the sun comes. They open and close, daisies. He said, so what you growing on the inside of you? He said, daisies. They open and close with the sun. Dandelions, they open and close with the sun. When the sun comes, they open up. When the sun is gone, they close. You say, what do you mean by? He said, yeah, close the doors. Close the doors of your mind. Right? Why? Because these things, you got to open and close with the sun. That's the only way you're going to get light. Because the light going to reveal what's inside. Right? You're going to be able to know. But Yahuwah's like, man, these people, you won't heal my reproof, my tukar, therefore I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own way. Because that was the commandment to Adam. Anyway. But he said, but it's not going to be my way. Right? Right? So these are what? Thistles. Thistle flowers. They purple, man. You see that? They purple on the top. But look, they got thorns on them. They got thorns. They got thorns around them. Right? They call them Syrian thorn bushes in some places. Syrian thorn bushes. Right, look at that. It got purple. It got a purple flower on the top, but it got a thorn on it. He said, what happens? He told Adam, thorns and thistles are going to yield you. And guess what happens? Thorns. Right? This is the same thing. These are thorn bushes, thistles, thorns and thistles. The thistle bushes. Right? They say this is the plant. They say this is the plant of Scotland. Right? The plant of Scotland. Right? He said thorn bushes. But they have thorns on them. They have purple on them. Right? These are thorn bushes. Right? Would you want to go through that? Right? You're gonna have cuts and all types of scrapes on your body. He said, so what is it yielding you? So when the sun comes inside of your Ahal in your body, guess what? It's going to produce something. It's going to produce something. And whatever you sow, you're going to reap what you sow. You're going to reap it and you're going to eat the fruits of your own way or your own devices, or you're going to eat the fruits that Yahuwah provides for you in the garden. Because that's what he said. Every herb, every tree yielding seed is going to be for food for you and for the animals. All right, so this is 2 Baruch 48:7. You remember the beginning which you created, and you do not forget the destruction that will come, because he ain't forgot. With signs and fear and threat, you command the flames, because nobody's going to be able to hide from the heat. And they change into winds, and neither the whirlwind. And with the word you bring to life that which does not exist, and with great power you hold that which has not yet come. Because the sun ain't rise yet, so therefore it ain't come yet. That's how we look at the natural sun. You instruct the creation with your understanding, because he said, man, fools hate knowledge. And you give wisdom to the spheres, so that they minister according to their positions. I give wisdom to the spheres. Wisdom. Fourth book of Azra, Pseudepigrapha, Volume 1, Old Testament. Why successive generations have been created? I said, yet behold, Yahuwah, O Yahuwah, you have charge of those who are alive. He said, you have charge of those who are alive and at the end, but what will those do who were before us, or we, or those who come after us? He said to me, I shall liken my judgment to a circle. Because, it comes around in a circuit. It's going to come right back around. What is he judging? He's going to reprove you. Reproof. Tukah. To what? So I can pour my ruach on you, so I can reveal my words. But if you hate it, and if you don't listen, nor heed the counsel, then guess what happens? Then I judge you. And I will laugh at you when your destruction comes as a whirlwind, when your calamity comes. He said, for fools hate knowledge. He says, my judgment is a circle. Just as for those who are last, there is no slowness. So for those who are first, there is no haste. So some people be like, I'm in front. Right? I done read like 100,000 books. He's like, you still ain't in front. Or a person taking their time, he's like, you still ain't doing nothing either. He said, eventually, my infinite knowledge will catch you. My infinite one, the infinite one will catch you. Right? This is 2nd Enoch 48, Pseudepigrapha, Volume 1. Above the solar and movements along the 7 circles. The sun, because he prepared a tent for the sun. The sun, so that it might travel along the 7 celestial circles, which are appointed to 182 thrones, so that it might descend to the shortest day. Right, that's early winter, late winter, and once more 182, so that he might descend to the longest day. That's what we're headed into. That's why we're getting ready to do the wheat harvest when the sun goes down. The wheat offering, and guess what? The grain offering to the longest day, to the summer solstice. He also has 2 great thrones where he pauses when he turns around in a circuit, because it goes around in this direction and in the other direction higher than the lunar thrones, because lunar thrones are 354, the sun is 364 days. Why? Because we're higher than the lunar thrones. It's just like Adam, when he told Adam in Kuur, he said, your desire, the Shuka, shall be to your husband. He shall rule over you, just like the lunar thrones. Just like the lunar thrones, just like the celestial circles. And in this way, the sun moves along all celestial circles. When he comes close to the earth, then the earth is married. He says, what did he say the sun do? It moves in its pattern in joy. He said it moves in joy. Aura, way of life, childbearing. Right? It says when he comes close to the earth, then the earth is married and makes this fruit grow. Oh, Yahuwah, like, let them eat the fruit of their own way. Now everything's starting to grow. Summer is here. He said, man, you're going to eat the fruit of your own way. So people saying, what do you mean? When things start happening in your life during this time, during these cycles, then you start to say, oh, I'm just eating the fruit of my own way. And people saying, you need to confess that. You need to confess what you're eating of. You sowed it, you reap. So you didn't show no kindness, or joy, peace, patience, meekness, temperance, and munah, forgiveness, obedience, love, compassion, humility, meekness, temperance. You're going to reap opposite of what you sowed. Like you say, you reap what you sow. But when he goes away, so when the sun goes away, so the sun is here now, so everything you had, you getting reaped for it. He said, but when the sun goes away, then the earth laments, and the trees and all its fruits have no productivity, and this is by measurement. So if you ain't got the sun, this is what happens to you. If you don't have the sun on the inside in your tent, this is what happens to you. Some people don't want the sun in their tent, because you know why? They don't want to eat the fruit of their own way. They don't want their punishment. They don't want to accept their punishment on their life, and they don't want to actually do any work to get it out, get all the stuff out, and they don't want to do any work in the field, in their consciousness, in their mind, and they don't want to actually eat the fruit of Yahuwah's the bar and his seeds. They don't want to do it. Guess what? And by the most precise measurements of the hours, he fixed it by measure by his own wisdom, that everything visible and invisible, from the visible things and the invisible visible things, he created all the visible things, and he himself is invisible. He's infinite. Thus I am making it known to you, my children, that you must hand over the books to your children, and through all your generations and your relatives and among all nations who are discerning, so that they may fear Yahuwah, because there's no one greater. You say, do you fear yet? Like he says, and so they may accept him, and they will be more enjoyable than any delightful food on earth. He said, man, do people accept it? Do you love it? Do you don't? You gotta love this thing, like he said. Like some people say, you gotta love it. And they will read them and adhere to them. Why? Because you're gonna know about the Shamash. Because he prepared a tent for the Shamash. And it moves along its circuit. And nobody can be hidden from the heat. But those who are undiscerning and who do not understand Yahuwah, neither fear Elohim, if you don't fear him, because you hate knowledge, you hate his reproof, you hate that he's trying to turn you from your purpose and what you're trying to do. You hate the fact that he's messing up your plans. They nor accept him. They don't even want to accept this. But renounce them. He's like, man, forget it. And regard themselves burdened by them. A terrible judgment is awaiting them. I'm going to laugh at your calamity when your destruction comes as a whirlwind. When it comes as a whirlwind, a hurricane, and a storm. Fire, vapor of smoke. He said, I'm going to laugh. Judgment. Because this is a point where the men, women, and children wants to die. After that, your judgment. Happy is the person who puts their yoke, or joyful is the person who puts their yoke and carries it around. He said he prepared a sun for the tent. A tent. He prepared the sun, the Shamash, for the tent. For the Ahal. But you don't want to carry around the sun? People say, why don't I want to carry around the sun? Because you don't want to actually do the things that come with productivity. Because when you ain't got no productivity, you ain't got nothing to do. But when you have the sun on the inside, you got a lot of stuff to do. It says, for he will plow on the great day of judgment, because you got a lot of stuff to do when you have the sun on the inside of your tent. People say, you understand that now? It says right here, this 4th book of Ezra, Volume 1. It's 5. It says, I said, O Master, I beseech you, if you have found favor in your sight, show your servant through whom you are going to visit your creation. This, right? So skipping down, 4th book of Ezra, chapter 6. And he said to them, at the beginning of the circle of the earth, before the portals, or he said of the world was in place, and before he assembled the winds blew, and before the rumbling thunder sounded, and before the flashing lightning shone, and before the foundations of the paradise were laid, and before the beautiful flowers were seen, before the daisies and the dandelions, and before the powers of the movements were established, and before the innumerable host of the Malachim were gathered together, because Yahuwah is infinite, and before the heights of the air were lifted up, and before the measures of the firmaments were named, and before the footstool of Saon was established, and before the present years were reckoned, who can do all of that? And the infinite Yahuwah Elohim, because his understanding is infinite. He said, I did all this before it even was done. Because when you have the Shamash with you, it produces a lot of productivity. And before the imaginations of those who now sin were estranged, and before those who stored up treasures of Amunah were sealed, then I planned these things. Oh, he planned it. We just talked about he planned other things. He said, man, I'm going to let them eat the fruit of their own devices, their own plans, their own purpose. He said, I planned this. This is what I planned. These things, he says, I planned these things and they were made through me and not through another. Just as the end shall come through me and not through another. Why do you think he said, I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own way? Because that's what I do. Because I made it. I made it. I made everything before it even was. So when he said, I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own way, then guess what? You stored up that sin. He's like, I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own way. Because it is the farmer who's supposed to eat the fruit first. You eat your own fruit first, and then before you start trying to give it to somebody else, he's like, man, eat your own fruit and taste that junk. Is it good? If it is, then you can start selling it to other people. Right, this is the book of Enoch 82, 2 through 9. I have given wisdom to thee and to thy children and thy children. That Luke 82, 2 through 9. This is book of Enoch 82, 2 through 9. I have given wisdom to thee and to thy children and thy children, that they shall be to thee, that they may give it to their children's generation. The wisdom, namely, that passeth their thought. And those who understand it shall not sleep, but shall listen with the ear, that they may learn this wisdom, and it shall please those who eat it. They are better than any good food. Blessed are, Barak are those, the righteous, Barak are those who walk in the way of righteousness, and sin not as the sinners. We talk about we gotta be tamim, you gotta be perfect. You gotta be perfect. In the reckoning of all their days, in which the sun transverses the Shamash. He said, I prepared a tent for the sun. It moves in a circuit. Yeah, we said entering in and departing out of the portals for 30 days with the heads of the thousands of the orders of the stars, together with the four which are intercalated, which divide the 4 portions of a year, which lead them and enter with them 4 days. Owning to them, men shall be at fault, not recognizing them accurately, for they belong to the reckoning of a year, and are truly reckoned thereon forever. One in the first portal, and one in the second portal, and one in the third portal. Right? So we're looking at it, we're already in the first portal right now. And we're moving towards the third portal. And one in the fourth portal, and one in the sixth portal. And the year is completed 364 days. Right, just like we're on the 49th day to go towards Chag. Right, so you look at 364 days, 49 is a 13. He said, just like everything calculates precisely. And the account thereof is accurate, and the recorded reckoning thereof exact for the luminaries and months, and the festivals, the muas, the feasts, years, and days. He said on the 4th day of creation, has Uriel shown and revealed to me, to whom the master of whole creation of the world has subjected the whole Shamaim, and he has power over night and day in the Shamaim, to cause the light to give light to men. Because he prepared a sun for his tent. He prepared a tent for his son, Ahal. He put a Shamash in it. Because what's on the inside, it's going to produce light to men. To give light to men, women, and children, sun, moon, and stars. And all the powers of the Shamaim which revolve in their circular chariots. They all move in their circular chariots in procession. Everybody. Everyone. They all move in circuits. Because if you have the sun on the inside, you're moving in the circuit. In a circular chariot. Huh? Oh. Yeah, if you have the sun on the inside, you're moving in a circular chariot. And whatever things you sow, you're going to reap what you sow. Because the sun's going to rise. And you're going to rise up, and guess what's going to be on the inside? Those behaviors. And you will say, if it ain't my behavior, I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own way. It ain't my stuff. I ain't got nothing to do with that. And if you don't want to heed my reproof, to get that, to cut it all out of you, to get it all out, and guess what he says? I'm going to laugh at you. Right? So we know 360 degrees, but of course we know all this, but then we start to look at 182 thrones, right? Which is 1111. Right? People talk about that, right? But it's talking about the Shamash moving in celestial circles. It's talking about you moving in procession, because if you put a sun on the inside of you and you producing fruit, then guess what happens? Then guess what happens? 4 cycle transitions, revolution of time, 364, right? So now we're in this time right here. Moving toward the longest day, shortest night. as you can see, if you have people have any type of perception, you go outside, the sun gives up earlier than it normally does. And then when you go out and you go to sleep, you like, man, the sun already out. It's real early. Guess what? He getting ready the longest day. Because he got to produce food for people. That's the reason why. Because this is the time you gotta work. Why? Because in wintertime you ain't gonna be able to work. It's gonna be too cold. You ain't gonna grow the food. You ain't got nothing stored up. You're gonna die. You and your family. What do you mean you? In your body, right? In your consciousness, right? This is Jeremiah 23 through 30. He says, and am I an Elohim at hand, declares Yahuwah, and not an Elohim far away? Can a man hide himself, in secret places, and I cannot see him? Why? Because he said nothing can be hidden from the heat. You can't hide yourself. He said, you can't be hidden from the heat, declares Yahuwah. Do not I feel Shamayim in earth? Declares Yahuwah. I have heard what the Nabi have said, who Naba lies in my name, saying, I have Kalam. I have Kalam. How long shall this be in the Nabiyahs? How long shall there be lies in their heart of the Nabi and Nabiyah, who Naba lies, and who Naba the deceit of their own heart? He said, I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own way. Who think to make my people forget my name by their dreams, by their kalam, that they tell one another, even as their fathers forgot my name for Baal. Let the Nabi who have a dream, or Nabiyah have a dream, let him tell a dream. Kalal, right? But let him who has my debar speak my debar faithfully. What has the straw in common with the wheat, declares Yahuwah? Is not my word like fire? Ish. Because you can't hide yourself from the heat. Declares Yahuwah, and like a hammer or patish that breaks the rocks in pieces. He said, the stony-hearted people, you hard-hearted people. Therefore, I am against the Nabi'im, declares Yahuwah, who steal my words from one another. Because that's the only reason they do it for, to make people forget Yahuwah's name. And they put it with their name. He's like, man, look at here. They done put their own name on it. And they done took it and put their own name on it. And now they running with it. And now they think they doing something. And now he said, Yahuwah, I'm against you now. He said, I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own way too. I'm against you. Right? This year, Ukanan 3, 19 through 21. And he said, and this is the judgment, that light has come into the world, and people love darkness rather than light, because their works are evil. Why? Because they don't want the light. When the sun rises, then all their behavior is going to be revealed. All the things on the inside are going to be revealed from the time they've been born until present. They're going to see all the sins they have committed in their life now rise up inside of them, and they're going to see it. That's what happens when the debar comes. Whatever rises up inside of you and your thoughts, that's what you got to get rid of. People say, why? That's what you got to change. He said, if you don't heed my reproof, you're going to die. Verse 20 says, for everyone who does wicked things hates the light. Of course, they hate the sun. You know, some people, they hate the sun, like, man, the sun out, I need to get under the shade. And that even coincides. But he's saying what? For everyone who does wicked things hates the light and does not come to the light, lest his work should be exposed. How is the work's going to be exposed? Because when you sow a seed in the ground and the rain and snow come down in the water, you ever seen when it rains? Man, the plants go straight up. The sun come out, the plants go straight up. You can't hide nothing. Everything coming up. They come up in an instant. As soon as it start raining and the sun come out, them plants shoot up. Man, they'll shoot up a whole big giant, especially invasive species, they'll shoot up a whole big giant bark right out of the ground. You'll be like, where that thing came from? It just come out of nowhere, because your deed's going to be exposed. You'll be like, man, what is that? Because you're going to see it. But whoever does what is true, man, whoever sows that good seed comes to the light, because they need to grow, so that it may be clearly seen that his works have been carried out in Yahuwah. He's like, that person didn't despise his reproof, none of his counsel. He took in the seed. Yahuwah poured out his ruach on him. He revealed to him his word, and he revealed to him his word. He sowed that seed, and then when the sun comes, he loves the light, loves the sun, and then guess what happens? Man, that thing is beautiful. You see that daisy? You see that dandelion? Man. You see that fruit on that tree? You see that apple tree? You see that pomegranate tree? You see that thorn bush? It ain't hard not to see the thorn bush, but that's a thorn bush. It looked beautiful, but it's a thorn bush. That's what happens. That's what happens, right? So this is 1 Kings 22, 1 through 44. We get through this, right? For 3 years, Syria and Yasharal continued without war, right? So that's peace, shalom, no war, right? Yasharal and Syria. But in the 3rd year of Yehoshaphat, the king of Yehuda came down to the king of Yasharal. So that's Yasharal and Yehuda getting together. And the king of Yasharal said to his servants, "Do you know that Ramoth Gilead belongs to us? And we keep quiet and do not take it out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Man, it don't belong to us. What you doing?" And he said to Yehoshaphat, "Will you go with me to battle at Ramoth Gilead?" So there's Yasharal talking to Yehuda. "You gonna go with me?" And Yehoshaphat said to the king of Yasharal, "I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses." They saying they Ahal. They saying they won. They saying they all won. Notice they all gathered in one place, and the leaders are deciding on to be one. But guess what it says? And Yehoshaphat said to the king of Yasharal, "Inquire first the word of Yahuwah." He like, man, look at here. First, let's go inquire the word of Yahuwah first before we start going to do stuff. Then the king of Yasharal gathered the Nabiim together, about 400 men, and said to them, "Shall I go to battle against Ramoth Gilead, or shall I refrain?" He's like, man, they got 400 Nabi. He said, "Man, we the prophets. They got 400 of them." Can you imagine? You got 400 prophets that inquire of them? He said, "Or shall I refrain?" They said, "Go up, for Yahuwah is." He said, "Go up, for Yahuwah will give it into the hand of the king." That's what he said. He said, "Man, look at here, go up." But Yehoshaphat said, "Is there not here another Nabi of Yahuwah of whom we may inquire?" Because you know, he's like, man, hold up, there's 400 of y'all, and all y'all agreeing? Man, something wrong. Something is wrong with 400 prophets all agreeing at one time. He's like, man, something wrong right now. And the king of Yasharal said to Yehoshaphat, "There is yet one man by whom we may inquire of Yahuwah, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, but I hate him, for he never nabas good concerning me, but Ra." He's like, me always talking about Ra, talking about something evil is going to happen to me. He's like, why he keeps saying something evil going to happen? And Yehoshaphat said, right, "Let not the king say so." He's like, man, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't talk about the Nabi like that. He's talking to the king of Yasharal. Verse 9 says, "Then the king of Yasharal summoned an officer and said," he got his, because they got them officers, right? They got them officers, right? "Bring quickly Micaiah, the son of Imlah." Now the king of Yasharal and Yehoshaphat, the king of Yehuda, were sitting on their thrones, arrayed in their robes. Where they got their robes on, they look good. In the threshing floor at the entrance of the gate of Samaria. And all the Nabiim were prophesying before them. They had 400 on them. And Zedekiah, the son of Kenaiah, made for him horns of iron and said, "Thus says Yahuwah, with these you shall push the Syrians until they are destroyed." He's like, man, look at here. You see that? He's like, man, you see how people can do you? He said, why are they giving all these extra stuff? These theatrics? He's like, look at here. He got these horns. He said, "This is you, and push the Assyrians and destroy it." Right? What did he say? Verse 12 says, "And all the prophets prophesied so, and said, Go up to Ramoth Gilead and triumph. Yahuwah will give it into the hand of the king." Right? It says, "And the messengers who went to summon Micaiah said to him, Behold, the words of the prophets with one accord are favorable to the king. Let your word be like the word of one of them, and speak favorably." So he's saying agree with him. You know, speak favorably. Everybody who did it, 400, just join in and say, hey, you know, you with us, and you know, you're just like us, and we're going to go with you. That's what he basically telling him. You get what he said? But Micaiah said, "As Yahuwah lives, what Yahuwah says to me, that I will speak." And when he had come to the king said to him, Micaiah, shall we go up the Mount of Gilead to battle, or shall we refrain? And he answered him, go up in triumph. Yahuwah will give it into the hand of the king. But the king said to him, how many times shall I make you swear that you speak to me nothing but the truth in the name of Yahuwah? He's like, I'm telling you to speak nothing but the truth. And he said, I saw all Yasharal scattered on the mountains as sheep that have no shepherd. And Yahuwah said, these have no master. Let each return to his own home, his home in Shalom. And the king of Yasharal said to Yehoshaphat, did I not tell you that he would? He said, and the king said to Yasharal, and the king said to the king of Yasharal, and the king of Yasharal said to Yehoshaphat, did I not tell you that he will not nabble good concerning me but evil? But Micaiah said, therefore hear the word of Yahuwah. I saw Yahuwah sitting on his throne in the highest Shemaim, right? And all the hosts of the Shemaim standing beside him on the right and on the left. And Yahuwah said, who will entice Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said one thing, and another said another. Then a spirit came forward and stood before Yahuwah, saying, I will entice him. And Yahuwah said to him, by what means? And he said, I will go and be a lying spirit in all of his prophets. There's 400 prophets. Nabi. He said, man, I want to be a lying spirit in all their prophets. And he said, you are to entice him, and you shall succeed and go out and do so. So that one spirit over 400 prophets. That's how powerful that spirit is. Over 400 prophets. Nabi. 400 versus 1. And he said they can't win. That's how powerful these spirits are. Just one. Now therefore behold, Yahuwah has put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these Nabi'im. Yahuwah has declared what? Disaster for you. That's why. He said, Yahuwah has declared disaster on you. Why? Because that's 400 prophets versus one spirit. One spirit possessed 400 people. Tongue. And he said, Yahuwah has declared disaster for you. Right? Then Zedekiah, the son of Kenah, came near and struck Micaiah on the cheek and said, how did the Ruach of Yahuwah go from me to speak to you? He like, who are you talking to? The Ruach was on me. I had the spirit of the Lord, the spirit of the truth, right? And he smacks Micaiah in the face for saying all the 400 prophets are liars. That's 400 against 1. And he hit him in the face. Because he said he was not a prophet. He was a lying prophet. And Micaiah said, behold, you shall see on that day when you go in the inner chamber to hide yourself. And the king of Yasharal said, seize Micaiah and take him back to Amnon, the governor of the city, and to Josiah, the king's son, and say, thus says the king, put this fellow into prison and feed him meager rations of bread and water until I come in peace. They threw him in jail. That's what officers can do. When you start speaking to the bar, he's like, man, look at here. I saw 400 prophets, and they all got lying spirits on the inside. Yahuwah sent a lying spirit in all 400 of them. And guess what? That's 400. One spirit control 400 people. And then the prophet comes smack Micaiah in the face. He calling me, what you saying? I'm a liar? Yeah. And they threw him in jail. They threw him in prison. And Micaiah said, if you return in peace, Yahuwah has not spoken about me. He's like, man, you come back in peace, Yahuwah ain't spoken about me. And he said, hear all you peoples. Right? So he's talking to everybody. Because if you come back in peace, Yahuwah ain't spoken about me, because he said he prepared disaster for you. That's the only reason he let you, that lying spirit keep flowing. That lying spirit, it keep going. Verse 29 says, so the king of Yasharal and Yehoshaphat and the king of Yehuda went to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Yasharal said to Yehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and go into the battle. Right? So the king of Yasharal and the king of Yehuda went into battle at Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Yasharal said, I'm going to disguise myself when I go into battle. But you wear your robes. He's like, but you wear your robes though. But I'm not finna wear mine. I'm finna wear something different, and I'm gonna go in this battle too. This is King of Yasharal and King of Yehuda. And the King of Yasharal disguised himself and went into the battle. He did too. He went into the battle. Now the king of Assyria had commanded that 32 captains of his chariots fight with neither small nor great, but only with the king of Yasharal. They like, King of Assyria only wanted one person. The king of Yasharal, Malach of Yasharal. That's all he wanted. He like, man, you go fight against that guy. And when the captains of the chariots saw Yehoshaphat, they said, it is surely the king of Yasharal, because he had them robes on. Because the king of Yasharal, he changed his clothes. He changed his garments. They're like, man, surely that's the king of Yasharal. So they turned to fight against him. And Yehoshaphat cried out. Man, he cried out. And when the captains of the chariots saw that it was not the king of Yasharal, they turned back from pursuing him. They're like, man, it's not the king of Yasharal. Man, that's the king of Yehuda. Because he said so. He cried out. But a certain man drew his bow at random and struck the king of Yasharal between the scale armor and breastplate. Therefore he said to the driver of his chariot, turn around and carry me out of the battle, for I am wounded. He's like, man, the king of Yasharal like, man, I'm wounded. And the battle continued that day, and the king was propped up in his chariots facing the Syrians, until at evening he died, and the blood of the wound flowed into the bottom of the chariot. He died at the evening, until the blood of the wound flowed into the bottom of the chariot. About sunset, a cry went through the army, every man to his city, and every man to his country. And guess what he said? Taken away, and the people still sacrificed and made offerings on the high places. Right? That's we skipping that. And about the sunset, a cry went through the army, and every man to his own city and to his own country. That's verse 36. Verse 37. So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. He died that evening, and man, he said the blood flowed down to the bottom of the chariot. And it says, and they washed the chariot by the pools of Samaria, and the dogs licked up his blood. The dogs licked up his blood. And the prostitutes washed themselves in it, according to the word of Yahuwah that he has spoken. Now the rest of the acts of Ahal and all that he did, and the ivory house that he built, and all the cities that he had built. And he's like, man, I built ivory. I got a house of ivory. Are they not written in the book of the Chronicles? That bring Yamim, the king of Yasharal. So Ahab slept with his fathers, and Ahaziah, his son, reigned in his place. And Yehoshaphat, the son of Asa, began to reign over Yehuda in the 4th year of Ahab, king of Yasharal. Right? So that's verse 41. Right? So you see this whole scenario taking place. Right? So this is Matthew 12, 33 to 37. It says either make the tree good and its fruits good, or make the tree bad and its fruit bad. So either you're gonna make one of the two. We talked about how the sun travels the celestial plane, and he said, Yahuwah gonna say, I'm gonna allow you to eat the fruits of your own way. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let you eat the fruits of your own way, and I'm gonna laugh at your calamity when your destruction comes. Because he just told the whole king of Yasharal, I'm preparing a destruction for y'all. I prepare a disaster for you. Because I send the lion spirit and all 400 prophets, and I need Ahab to die. I need Ahab to die. He says, or make the tree bad and its fruit bad. That's why he made all of them. Why do you think he made the whole tree? But the king of Yasharal and his prophets, Nabim, he put a lion spirit in them. He made the whole tree evil. For the tree is known by its fruit. How do you think Micaiah was able to recognize? He's like, man, this is a bad tree. He said, Yahuwah sent a lion spirit and all you Nabim. He said he prepared disaster for you. He's like, man, he never speak anything good of us. And he said right here, he said, you brood of vipers. Why do you think he said that? That's Micaiah. He's like, man, you never speak anything good about us. How can you speak good when you are evil? He's like, y'all raw. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. The good person out of his good treasures bring forth good, and the evil person out of his evil treasures bring forth evil. Why? Because when you have the sun, he prepared the sun for your tent. And guess what happens? Your behaviors come out. Your behaviors on the inside come out and start to manifest. Verse 36, I tell you, on the day of judgment, you will give an account for every careless word that you speak. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Why? Yahuwah's like, I'm going to send a lying spirit in all these Nabi too. He's like, you're going to be he's like, you know what? He said, you're going to be condemned. He said, how are you going to be condemned? Because it ain't my seed. He said, you ain't heed my reproof. Matter of fact, you hated knowledge in my counsel. So therefore, I'm going to judge you for everything y'all say after that. Because you know how it talks about? He's like, man, they're going to get arrogant. They're going to mouth at. They're going to become scoffers. He's like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Verse 38 says, then some of the scribes and the Pharisees answered him, saying, oh, here they go. They're going to mouth that. They go to scoffers. Because fools hate knowledge. Teacher, we wish to see a sign from you. But he answered them, an evil and adulterous generation seek after a sign. But no sign will be given to it except the sign of Nabi Yonah. For just as Yonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the great fish, so will the son of Adam be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will rise up at judgment with this generation and condemn it, for they repented at the preaching of Yonah. They repented at the teaching of Yonah. Not the king Yasharal. He like, man, you gonna die. He said they repented at the teaching of Yonah. And behold, something greater than Yonah is here. He like, man, something greater than Yonah is here. When they heard the teaching of Yonah, they stopped. He's like, man, somebody greater than Yonah is here. The queen of the south will rise up in judgment with this generation and condemn it. For she came from the ends of the earth to hear the Hukmah of Shaluma. Hukmah she Shaluma. And behold, a greater than Shaluma is here. He's like, man, look at here. I'm greater than Shaluma. He's like, man, all these people, he said, Matthew 16, 13 to 20. Now when Yahushua came to the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, who do people say that the Son of Man is? And they said, some say that Ukanani and Mercer. Others say Aliyahu. And others Yirmiyahu. Or one of the Nabi'im. He's like, man, you must be Micaiah. You gotta be Yirmiyahu. Man, you gotta be Aliyahu. Man, you just like them. Because they never say anything good. They always talk about evil stuff gonna happen. And he said to them, but who do you say the son of that I am? Shalom. He said, Simon Cobb replied, you are the Mashiach, the son of the living Elohim Yahuwah. And Yahushua answered him, Barak are you, Simon Bar Yonah. He said, for flesh and blood has not revealed it to you, but my Father in Shamaim. I tell you, you are Kav, and on this rock I will build my body, my congregation, my house, and the gates of hell, Sheol, shall not prevail against it. And I will give you the keys of the Shamaim, the kingdom of Shamaim. And whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in Shamaim. Why do you think it was in Micaiah when they inquired of Yahuwah? What happened? He said, man, Yahuwah, all the Malachim were gathered around him, his Malachim, and he said, who going to entice Ahal even go around Gilead? And then a spirit came. He said, I'm going to go be a lying spirit in all your prophets. You know, I'll be eating. And he said, what? He bound whatever is on earth, Shamaim, he said he did it in earth. He said he loosed it on earth. And whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in the Shamaim. Then he strictly charged the disciples to tell no one that he was Mashiach. He said, I ain't the Mashiach, I ain't the one who gonna die. Because it wasn't Mashak. He was Mashiach. Why? Because he's gonna die. This Yirmiyahu, this is John 12, 27, 33. Now is my soul troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? For this purpose I came to this hour. Father, kabod your name. Then a voice from Shamaim said, I kabod it, and I'll kabod it again. I will. And he says, the crowd that stood there and heard it said, it had thunder. Others said, and Malak had spoken to him. Yahushua answered them, this voice came for your sake, not mine. Why do you think Micaiah, when he was thrown in prison, he said, if Yahuwah spoken about me, he give you peace? He said, he ain't spoken about me. And he said, all the people. He talked to all the people. He told all the people that. He made sure they knew. He said, and the Malak had spoken to him. He says, Yahushua answered, this voice has come for your sake, not mine. Now is the judgment of this world. Now will the ruler of this world be cast out. And if when I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw all people to myself. He said this to show what kind of death he was going to die. Like, what type of death he going to die? What death he going to die? Yuchanan 18, 1 through 2. When Yahushua, 1 through 12, sorry. And when Yahushua had spoken these words, he went out with the disciples across the brook Kidron, where there was a garden, which he and his disciples entered. Now Yehuda, who betrayed him, also knew the place, for Yahushua had often met there with his disciples. So Yehuda, having procured a band of soldiers and some officers from the chief priests and the scribes and the Pharisees, went there with lances and torches and weapons. Why? To throw him in prison. Just like they did Micaiah. And throw this man in prison. Matter of fact, give him a little bread and rations. And until I come in peace. He had the officers too. Because he's just like Micaiah. He's just like Jeremiah. He's just like these people. They're going to throw you in jail. They're going to throw you in prison. They're all going to throw you in jail. Who do you seek? Get what he said. And then Yahushua, knowing all that would happen to him, came forward and said to him, whom do you seek? He said, I already knew. I already know what people are going to do. Whom do you seek? They answered him, Yahushua of Nazareth. Yahushua said to them, I am he. Yehuda, who betrayed him, was standing with them. And when Yahushua said to them, I am he, he drew back. They drew back and fell to the ground. So he asked them again, whom do you seek? And they said, Yahushua of Nazareth. Yahushua answered, I told you that I am he. I told you. I told you I'm Micaiah. So if you seek me, let these men go. This was fulfilled the word that he had spoken. Of those whom you have given me, I've lost not one. Then Kaf, having a sword, drew it and struck out the high Kahan's servants, the high priest of the servant, and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. So Yahushua said to Kaf, put your sword in your sheath. Shall I not drink of the cup my father has given me? So the band of soldiers and the captain and the officers and the Yahudim arrested Yahushua and bound him and threw him. Amen. Bring that man. I ain't got nothing good to say about us at all. Why he got us keep talking? He don't got nothing good to say about us. He said, Yahuwah judges those who is out. He said, I judge those who are within. He said, he ain't got nothing good to say about us. For he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, who was a high Khan that year. It was Caiaphas who had advised the Yahudim that it was expedient that one man should die for the people. How do you think Micaiah said, no matter of fact, if you go in peace, if you come back in peace, Yahuwah ain't spoken about me. He ain't talking about, man, if you come back in peace, he ain't spoken about me. That's how you know he spoke about Micaiah. Because here go Yahushua. Getting arrested, thrown in prison. Matter of fact, this is him going into the battle. As a matter of fact, he got brought to the governor just like Micaiah did. To the heads, to the leaders. He told the king Yasharal, if you go into battle and you come back in peace, he ain't spoken about me. Because you gotta die. Right? This is Matthew 27 through 43. You're gonna skip over somebody. He said the governor's headquarters, they gathered the whole battalion before him. And they stripped him and put on his scarlet robe and twisting a crown of thorns together. A crown of thorns, they put it on his head and put a reed in his hand. And kneeling before him, they mocked him, saying, Hail, Malach of the Yahudim, I'm going to go into battle. Because the king, Malach of Yehuda, said, keep your robe on. He said, I want you to put your robes on, you're going to go into battle. But I'm going to disguise myself. Because the king of Yasharal was disguising himself. He said, Hail, Malach of the Yahudim. And they spit on him and took a reed and struck him in the head. They struck him in the face. Just like the Nabi struck Micaiah in the face. What happened? Because he said, man, you a lying spirit. I'm going to put a lying spirit in all your Nabi'im. He said, wouldn't he wish that all his people were Nabi'im? But all of them had lying spirit. All the people had lying spirit. And they struck him in the head. And when they had mocked him, they stripped him of his robe and put on his own clothes and led him away to crucify him. He like, man, look at here. You ain't the king of Yasharal. I thought you were the king of Yasharal. But you the king of Yehuda. He said, we're going to lead you to... He said, lead him away to be crucified. Why do you think he's going to the king of Yasharal? Why you think he got on his robe like the king of the Yahudim? Because that's what Yehoshaphat was. Verse 32 says, and they went out, and they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name, and they compelled this man to carry his cross. And when they came to the place called Golgotha, which means a place of skull, they offered him wine to drink mixed with gall, but when he tasted it, he would not drink it. When they had crucified him, they divided his garments among them, casting lots. And they sat down and kept watch over him there. And over his head they put his charge to him, which read, this is Yahusha, the king of the Yahudim. And when the people, he's like, man, that's a Yehoshaphat. That's the king of the Yahudim. That's the king of Yehuda. Then the two robbers who were crucified with him, one on the right and one on the left, right? Because he would crucify in between the chariots. He was crucified in between the two chariots. He was crucified in his chariot, one on the right and one on the left. And those who passed by derided him, wagging their heads and saying, you who would destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the son of Yahuwah, come down from the cross. So also the chief priests and the scribes and the elders mocked him, the saying, he saved others, he cannot save himself. If he is a Malach of Yasharal. Because when Malach of Yehuda went into battle, they thought it was a Malach of Yasharal. And then guess what happened? When they saw it was a Malach of Yehuda, they drew back and they stopped fighting against him. And then what they do? They went to go fight against the Malach of Yasharal after that. And amazingly, that's what they're doing right here. But Micaiah said, if he's spoken by me, and you come back in peace, he ain't spoken by me. Why do you think Yahusha getting hit in the head with a reed and mocked? They thought he was a Malach of Yahudim, and they're like, nah, we're going to go fight against the Malach of Yasharal now. But if he be the Malach of Yasharal, let him come down from the cross, and we will believe in him, because all is going to be on me. Not on Yehoshaphat, not on Ahal. It's all going to be on me. Because, all the lying spirits in the 400 Nabi'im, they got lying spirits in them. Get what he said? And we will believe in him. He trusted in Elohim. Let Elohim, Yahuwah, deliver him now if he desires him. For he said, I am the son of Yahuwah. And the two robbers who were crucified with him will also revile in the same way. They did the same thing. Right? This is 4th Baruch 23 through 32, Pseudepigrapha, volume 2. Now Baruch and Abimelech were extremely grieved because they wanted to hear in the full mysteries he had seen. But Yirmiyahu said to them, because he said to Yahusha, some say you Yirmiyahu. What did he say? Be quiet and do not weep. Why do you think Yahusha ain't say nothing? You don't hear all these things they say about you? And he would answer them not a word. He said, some say you Yirmiyahu. For they will, get what he says, be quiet and do not weep, for they will not kill me until I have described to you everything that I saw. Why do you think Micaiah, after he told everything he said, they threw him in prison? He said, they ain't going to do it until after I tell them everything I saw. Once I complete everything, after I finish it, that's when they're going to kill me. And he said to them, bring a stone here to me. And he set it up and said, light of the aeons, make this stone look just like me until I describe everything I saw to Baruch and Abimelech. So he made it look just like me, just like the king of Yehuda went into battle. They thought it was a king of Yasharal when he went in, because Yasharal was disguised. The king of Yasharal was disguised. And he says, then the stone, by the command of Yahuwah, took on the likeness of Yirmiyahu. He's like, man, it took on the likeness of Yirmiyahu. Come on. Just like the king of Yehuda, it took on the likeness of, they thought it was the king of Yasharal. And they were stoning the stone, thinking it was Yirmiyahu, but they were trying to kill that. Trying to kill Yirmiyahu. They thought it was Yirmiyahu. Matter of fact, they thought it was a king. They thought Yehoshaphat was the king of Yasharal. But Yirmiyahu delivered all the mysteries that he had seen to Baruch and to Abimelech, and then he simply stood in the midst of the people, desiring to bring his stewardship to an end. He's like, man, he's going to bring his stewardship to an end, because after they won't kill him till after he finished everything he said, that he revealed everything. That's what they were trying to do. Why do you think Satan trying to stone him before he can reveal everything to everybody? Why do you think Satan coming after people who know things to do what? To stop the people, stop him from giving it to people. That's the only reason he's doing it. Why do you think he disguised himself as a stone, and they start stoning it? Because they thinking that's him. Because he ain't finished. It says, desiring to bring his stewardship to an end. Then the stone cried out, saying, "Oh, stupid children." So then the stone started to cry out. Go to the stone said to them. Because they were stoning, thinking it was Yirmiyahu. Then the stone cried out, "Oh, stupid children of Yasharal. Why do you stone me thinking I am Yirmiyahu? What you stoning me for? You thinking I'm Yirmiyahu? You think I'm him? Behold, Yirmiyahu stands in your midst." And when they saw him, they immediately ran at him with many stones, and his stewardship was fulfilled. And Baruch and Abimelech came and buried him. Once they realized it was him, they came and ran at him with one accord. Yasharal, stupid Yasharal. And guess what they did? They killed him. But guess what? His stewardship was fulfilled. Because he couldn't die until after he finished everything. And Baruch and Abimelech came and buried him. And they took the stone and put it on the tomb after inscribing it. It is thus. This is the stone that was the ally of Yirmiyahu. The ally. He said it was an ally. This is Matthew 27, 45 and 56. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Yahusha cried out with a loud voice. Didn't the king of Yusufat cry out? Didn't the stone cry out too? He said, "What you stupid children of Yasharal? Why you stoning me like I'm Yirmiyahu? You coming after me like I'm the king of Yasharal." That's what Yusufat said. "Yeah, I'm not the king of Yasharal. What y'all coming at me for, attacking me?" Because they thought it was a king. They thought it was, matter of fact, they thought it was Yirmiyahu. They thought it was Yusufat. And he said, he cried out loud, saying, "Oh, Yahoo, Lama Sabbath, that is my Elohim, why is thou forsaking me?" And some of the bystanders hearing it said, "This man is calling for all Yahoo, stupid Yasharal. Why you stoning Yirmiyahu? This stone, you thinking I'm Yirmiyahu. You stoning this stone, and you don't even know that I'm not Yirmiyahu. You trying to kill me, and I'm not Yirmiyahu." And one of them at once ran and took a sponge and filled it with sour wine and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. But the other said, "Wait, let's see whether Al Yahoo will come and save him." They still, "Oh, fools, Yasharal, stupid Yasharal. Why are you stoning Why are you stoning me? Why are you stoning this stone, thinking it's Yirmiyahu? Why are you stoning this stone thinking it's Yahoo? Because some people say that he's Yahoo. You thinking you stoning the Nabi? and Yahusha cried out again, and with a loud voice and yielded the Ruach. Because that's what Yirmiyahu, that's what Yehoshaphat did, that's what the stone did. Guess what they did? They did all that to what? To show you people how stupid they are. We're coming to fight against a person that's not even who you need to be fighting against. Because you're fighting against something you don't even know what you were doing. Because that wasn't a stone that you were fighting. That wasn't the king of Yehuda and Yasharal you were fighting. And coming against and stoning. That was the son of Yahuwah you were doing that to. Verse 51, and behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two, from top to bottom, and the earth shook and the rocks split. Why wouldn't it not? You just stoned and beat down the infinite one, Yahuwah himself and his son on earth. Why wouldn't the whole earth shake? and the whole world started moving around. Because you thought it was Yirmiyahu. You thought it was Yehoshaphat. Guess what it says? The tombs were open, and many bodies of the Qadashim had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tomb, and after the resurrection, they went into the Qadash city and appeared to many. And when the centurion and those who were with him, keeping watch over Yahusha, saw the earthquake and what took place, they were filled with awe. They were feared. They were scared. They were feared. They were scared and said, "Truly, this is the son of Elohim Yahuwah." Because he said, "Flesh and blood and revealed that to you." He's like, man, flesh and blood revealed that to you. Because what happened with, amazingly, what happened with Yehoshaphat when he was impaled with the arrow, or the king of Yasharal? He said the dogs ate his swords. The dogs drank his blood. What you think this centurion is doing right here? The dog is drinking his blood. And he believes on the son of Yahuwah. He believes on the son of Yahuwah. The dog is believing on the son of Yahuwah. He's like, man, truly it's the son of Yahuwah. Right, this is Yuchanan 19:28. And after this, Yahusha, knowing that all had finished, because Yirmiyahu said, he said, I can't until I reveal everything to Baruch and Abimelech, I cannot, they won't kill me. They won't kill me until I'm finished. Until it is thus. To fulfill the scripture, I thirst, a jar of sour wine stood there. So they put a sponge full of sour wine in a hyssop branch and held it to his mouth. When Yahusha had received the sour wine, he said, "It's time for me to fulfill my stewardship. It's time for me to end my stewardship. It is finished. I'm finished talking. I'm finished doing what I need to. Hey, stupid people, stupid Yasharal, why are you stoning Yirmiyahu? This is Yirmiyahu in your midst right here. Why are you stoning this stone? Thinking it's Yirmiyahu. This is Yirmiyahu right here." And they rushed on him. He said, "I'm done." And he bowed his head and gave up the Ruach. I'm finished. Bereshit 2:1. Thus the Shamash and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, Yahuwah Elohim finished his work that he had done and rested, or Shabbat, the Shabbat day. That's what we're on the seventh Shabbat, going towards Chag Shavuot. From all his work that he had done. So Elohim, he said, "I'm done. I ceased. I'm done. I'm eating the fruit of my hands. This is it. I'm finished. I'm eating the fruit of my stewardship." He said, "I'm done. I finished the earth in 6 days and rested the seventh. I'm finished. Why do you think this is the finishing of the 49-day count? I'm done. I'm finished. And then I'm getting ready to offer my grain offering. I'm done." So Baruch, so Elohim Barak the seventh day and made a Qadash, because on it, Elohim rested from all his work that he had done in creation. I'm done. I'm finished. Right, this is Yuchanan 19:31-35. Since it was a day of preparation that the bodies would not remain on the cross on the Shabbat, for the Shabbat was a high day, the Yahudim asked Pilate that the legs might be broken, that they might be taken away. So the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first and of the other who had been crucified with him. But when they came to Yahusha, they saw that he was dead already. They did not break his legs, but one of the soldiers pierced his side of the spear, and at once came blood and water. That's what ran down the chariot, to the bottom of the chariot after the king of Yasharal was impaled with the arrow at evening time. He said the blood ran all the way to the bottom of the chariot at evening time. And he who saw it bore witness, and his testimony is true. Because you know what happens when you're true. And he knows that he is telling the truth because he ain't got no lying spirit in him. Because you know what Micaiah said, if you come back in peace, you ain't spoken about me. He said it to all the people. Why do you think Yahushua had to die? And his testimony is true, and he knows he's telling the truth, that you also may believe. Believe, believeth, no. Believe, believeth no. Believe, believeth no. Right? Matthew 27:57. When it was evening, there came a rich man of Arimathea named Yusuf, who also was a disciple of Yahusha. And he went to Pilate and asked for the body of Yahusha. Then Pilate ordered it be given to him. And Yusuf took the body and wrapped it in clean linen shroud and laid it in his own tomb which was cut in the rock. The same place where he said we just talked about buried Yirmiyahu, and rolled a stone, because that stone was his ally. Because that stone was Yirmiyahu's ally. Because they thought, that stone, he's like, man, you stupid Yasharal, why are you stoning me? Yirmiyahu right here. Because he was both Yirmiyahu and the stone. Because the stone was his ally. And he rolled a great stone to the entrance of the tomb and went away. Mary Magdalene and Marim were there sitting opposite the tomb. He's like, man, he said, why do people sin? As Marim wrote, because you love the thing that deceive you. People saying why? They love them 400 Nabi. They love when people deceive. They love the Nakash. That's why Marim even said, man, y'all love the Nakash. That's why y'all get deceived. You love Nakash in the garden. That's why you get deceived. All right, this is Psalms 118, 19 to 24. Open to me the gates of righteousness, that I may enter through them and give thanks to Yahuwah. This is the gate of Yahuwah. The righteous shall enter through it. I thank you that you have answered me and became my salvation. The stone that the builders rejected had become the cornerstone. Because you know the stone is his ally. He was Yirmiyahu's ally. He said, you stupid people, why are you stoning the stone? You think I'm Yirmiyahu? Yirmiyahu right here. Oh, you mean Yahusha right here. But he said right here, this is Yahuwah's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. This is the day that Yahuwah has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Because when the sun come up? In the daytime. If the sun, he said, I prepared a sun for the tent. The sun for the tent that I made. He said, let us rejoice and be glad. Why? Because this is the day he made. Because the day is the day of salvation. He's like, this is the day he made. I prepared a tent for the sun. For the Shamash. And he's going to go around in this circuit in joy. Right? He said that stone was an ally. That word for stone is a bin. It means a common stone. A stone. Marble stone. Stony heart, right? Because you're talking about a stony heart. Why do you think they were stoning the stone? The stone which the builders rejected. Why do you think they were stoning him? Man, you think I'm Yirmiyahu? You think I'm the king of Yasharal? Hailstone, right? Right, if you look at Abin, what? You got the Ab, that's the father. The Aleph and the Ba'ith equals to 3. That's the Ab, that's the father. So who was Yirmiyahu's ally? Who was Micaiah's ally? Who was all the Nabi? Who was Yahusha's ally? Who was right next in Yahusha? Right, the son is the Ben, Ba'ith and Nun, because of 57 to 7. 52 equals to 7. 7 plus 3, right? Equals to 10. Equals to 1. Akad. Amazingly, Yasharal and Yehuda, he said, my people, your chariots, my chariots, your horses, my horses. We all one. But when it came to that one person saying, hey, you know what? He aligned spirit on all your prophets. But he said, that one stone was Yirmiyahu's ally. Because that's who was calling the people stupid and fools. The Father and the Son. The Father and the Son. This is Psalms 32, 1 through 5. Barak is the one whose transgression is forgiven and whose sins is covered. Barak is the man whom Yahuwah counts no iniquity, and whose ruach is no deceit. Is no deceit. For when I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. What he told Jeremiah, who told Baruch in 4th Baruch, he said, be quiet. I kept silent all day long. For day and night, your hand was heavy upon me, day and night. Because during the daytime, when Yahushua was on the cross, the sun was up. In the nighttime, the sun was up. Because he was both the sun. He was the sun and the sun. It says, your hand was heavy upon me. My strength dried up as by the heat of the summer. Now you see why people hide. You can't hide from the heat. You can't hide from the heat because he said you can't hide from the summertime. Everything get hot. And everything reveals itself, who you are. He said, my strength dried up from the heat of the summer because that's what the sun will do. The sun will dry up all of your strength to commit sin. It will dry up all your strength to commit sin. That's why people hate the sun. You mean the son of Yahuwah. It's going to dry up all your heat. It's going to dry up all your strength. Why do you think he was on the cross from the 6th to the 9th hour? His strength was gone. All that sin that he had on the inside of him, because he put on him the iniquity of us all. This Ezekiel, but he said, he said, Barak is he who counts no iniquity. Right? This Ezekiel 18, 21 through 24. But if the wicked person turns away from his sins that he has committed and keeps all my statutes, my kuka, and does what is just and right, he shall surely live. He shall not die. So why did Yahushua have to die? Because we didn't do it. Why do you think he had to surely die? None of the transgressions that he has committed shall I remember against him. Why do you think Yahushua said, Barak is a man who accounts no iniquity? Why do you think he laid on him the iniquity of us all? So he won't remember any of our sin anymore. None of the transgressions that he has committed shall be remembered against him. For the righteousness that he has done, he shall live. What righteousness did you do that you may live? Surely it ain't because of your righteousness. It ain't because of yours. It's because of his that you may live. Because he said, man, we ain't did no righteousness, and he did the righteousness. And because he did the righteousness, you now have an opportunity to do what? Do what you didn't do before. Guess what he said, verse 23. Have I any pleasure in the death of the wicked, declares Yahuwah. So you think Yahuwah had pleasure in the death of Yasharal, Ahal going to die? He tried to turn him from his wicked way and telling all the prophets would not being with liars, but they still went on though. Because Yahuwah said he sent a lion spirit and he enticed them, just like Nakash did in the garden. Who's going to entice Kawua to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Who's going to do that? I'm going to be a lion spirit in the Nakash, in the serpent, in the garden. And I'm going to get her to eat from it. And she's going to give it to her husband. And he going to eat. He said, I want everybody to live. But when a righteous person turns away from his righteousness and does injustice and does the same abominations that wicked person does, shall he live? He said, you're going to do the same thing a wicked person does. And they say birds of a feather flock together, like they say. So you're going to do the same thing they do? You're going to do everything, the same thing evil men and women and children do. Even evil husbands and wives do. Evil pastors and teachers, evangelists and Nabi'im. You're going to do the evil that people that call themselves virtuous women do? You're going to do the evil that people that claim to say they believe in Yahuwah do? You're going to do the same patterns and behaviors? He said, you're going to do the same thing they do? You're going to listen to the same gossip and slander and hatred and envy and strife they listen to? You're going to listen to the same news articles and things and research the things that they do? And you see how tormented they are in their mind? And He's going to do the same thing. And just as that, He said the same abomination that a wicked person does, shall he live. None of the righteous deeds that he has done shall be remembered. Why? Because once you listen, then you're going to do it. For the treachery of which he is guilty, and the sin he has committed, he, she, or, doesn't matter. For them he shall die, or she shall die. But he said, Barak is the man or woman or child against whom Yahuwah counts no iniquity. But the only way that iniquity is going to be counted, we're going to have to, like I said, not do what the wicked person does, and do what is just and right, that you may live. Right, this is Dead Sea Scrolls, column 6, 4Q2-7. These are the paths in the world that enlighten the heart of men, women, and children. Straighten out in front of them all the paths of true justice. That's how you say judgment. Establishing their heart respect. Establishing his or her heart respect for the precepts of Yahuwah, in the ruach of meekness, of patience, and generous compassion, eternal goodness, with intelligence. Because stupid people end up stoning the stone. They be like, man, oh stupid, why y'all stoning this stone? I'm not Yirmiyahu. I'm not the king of Yasharal. Why y'all attacking me? I'm not the king of Yehuda. I'm not the king of Yasharal. Why you attacking me? There's only one king of Yasharal, Yehuda. And there's only one shepherd. Why y'all attacking me? And it says what? In the ruach of meekness, generous compassion, eternal goodness, intelligence, understanding, potent wisdom, which trusts in all the deeds of Elohim and depends on his abundant mercy. A ruach of knowledge in all plans of action, of enthusiasm, decrees of justice, and set up our plans and firm purpose and generous compassion, with all the sons of truth and daughters of truth. He said, do you have generous compassion for all the sons of truth and all the daughters of truth, no matter what they have done in their life? And it says, a magnificent period who detests all unclean idols. Some, of careful behavior and wisdom concerning everything, of concealment concerning the truth and the mysteries of the knowledge. These are the foundations of the ruach of the sons of truth in the world. So you got to conceal it. And guess what it says? And the reward of those who walk in it will be healing. I'm going to heal all your wounds. I'm going to heal all of it. If you just heed my reproof, I want to pour my ruach on you. Matter of fact, I want to reveal my words to you. And it says, of the concealment of the truth and the mysteries and the knowledge, these are the foundations of the sons of truth in the world, and the reward of those who walk in it will be healing. Plentiful shalom in a long life. So she said, I want long life, and he said, in peace. Not throwing people in prison, not being bitterness and resentment, and throwing people in jail. You get what they do? Give them barely rations so I can pretty much come till I come in peace. When Yahuwah told you to do that? When Yahushua told you to do that? It says fruitful offspring with all everlasting barak, eternal enjoyment with endless life, and a crown of abode with majestic raiment and eternal life. Eternal life. However, the ruach of deceit belongs greed. Because you know the spirit ruach of deceit should not be in your mouth. The ruach of greed. That's anything in the world that he can get excess of. That's greed. Sluggishness in the service of justice. I'm slow when it comes to judgment. I'm slow. I'm slow in mind. I'm slow in heart. I'm slow in everything. Because you know what happens when you're slow in the service of justice? You're going to think that the king of Yehuda is the king of Yasharal. And you're going to think that this stone that you're stoning is Yirmiyahu. You're going to think he calling for Eliyahu. Because you ain't going to be able to judge in your mind in a fast pace. And you're going to be messing up. And you're going to be thinking that you're judging properly, and you're not. Wickedness, falsehood, shakir, kazab, pride, haughtiness of heart. All these are all the spirit of the sea. It can even be in your mouth. Because every word you're going to be judged according to what you say. So pride and haughtiness of heart, dishonesty, trickery, cruelty. That's even animal cruelty. And cruelty to anybody. Much insecurity, impatience, much foolishness, impudent enthusiasm for appalling acts performed in lustful passion. Filthy past in service of impurity. That's filthy living. Blasphemous tongue. Right? So he's talking about blasphemous tongue. He say blasphemous tongue, that's when they say, we just read in Proverbs chapter 1, they say what? They're going to speak, they're going to say mouth at. The Ruach HaKodesh, right? Ruach Chadash. He said, I'm trying to pour my Ruach, I'm trying to reprove you. It's too hard. Blindness of eyes. So blindness of eyes. Can't even see. He said, who did sin? His parents or somebody else? People saying, why all these things come out? Because people don't want to be how their hand held. Like, you can't even see, you can't even feel the things that Yahushua said. He said, man, they're going to carry you where you go. Somebody going to grab you by the hand because you're blind and lead you where you need to go. You can't do that today. They got contacts, eyeglasses, they got everything today. They got every single thing that they don't allow you to fulfill what Yahushua said. Why? Because people don't want to see their sin. Because when light comes, then guess what? You got to take that. They take those things off, and you see your sin. Then somebody got to hold you by the hand and guide you, and guess what happens? Then you become, how you say, the fulfillment of light. Then you go, and he said, Yahushua might actually give you your real full sight, your 20/20 vision back, like they say. But that can never happen. It says hardness of hearing. He said hardness of hearing. He said it's that stony heart that people have. Stiffness of neck. Can't even turn their neck all the way around. They can't even turn it. Hardness of heart in order to walk in the paths of darkness. Because men love darkness rather than light because they trying to hide from the sun. They hate the heat. He said, you can't hide from this heat. Because when the sun reaches the celestial plane, that's what it's moving to now, the longest day. You can't hide from the heat. It's summertime. Like they say, summer, summer, summertime. You can't hide from the heat. Everything grows. He says, hardness of heart, to walk in the paths of darkness and evil cunning. The visitation of all who walk in it will be abundance of affliction of the Malachia, the destruction of the eternal damnation, and scorching wrath of the Elohim of revengeance. Why? Because he's planning destruction for you. I prepared disaster for you. I have it for you. But just like Yuna said, because he said greater than Yuna here, he said when they heard the teaching of Yuna, they turned from there. He said Yahuwah relented. When Yahuwah saw they relented from the things they were doing and repented, he said he relented the disaster that he was going to do to them. Had the king of Yasharal, when he heard what Micaiah said, had relented, Yahuwah would have relented on the disaster that was going to happen to him, but he didn't. He would not heed his reproof and his counsel, and therefore, that was his. But will it be yours? It says, at the hand of the Malachia, destruction of the eternal damnation and scorching wrath of the Elohim who vengeance, for permanent terror and shame, without end, with humiliation of the destruction by the fire of the dark regions, in all the ages of all their generations. These will spend in bitter weeping and harsh evils in the abyss of darkness until destruction, without there being a remnant or survivor for them. Right, it's Galatians 6:7-9. Be not deceived. All Yahuwah is not mocked. For whatsoever a man, woman, or child soweth, that shall he also reap. Right, so people say, I sowed something, I did something when I was a child, when I was a teenager, when I was a young adult, and guess what? You're going to reap it. I did it when I was an older woman, younger woman. He said, you're going to reap it. Older man, younger man, you're going to reap it. He said, Yahuwah is not mocked. But they were mocking Yahushua though. Because they thought within themselves they were doing the right thing. They thought it. Verse 8 says, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of his flesh reap corruption. But he who soweth to the Ruach shall reap life everlasting. Because you reap corruption, that means you're going to die. Move. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we will reap. If we faint not, reap what? Your fruits or your labor. Or you're going to eat the fruits of your own way. He said, those are your fruits of your own way. That's what you get for those memories you created, those things you created. That is your fruit. People say, I didn't create no memories of love, compassion, humility, meekness, temperance, and movement, joy. I didn't create enough of those. So therefore, you reap the fruit in due season. You reap what you sow. What he said, moves in a circuit. What goes around comes around. Yahuwah has no respect of persons. Matsah, Proverbs 16:31. Gray hair is a crown of kabod. It is gained through a righteous life. It says, whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty. He said, a mighty man, mighty woman. He says, and he who rules his ruach than he who takes a city. He said, how do you know? When these things are sprinkled, he's like, oh, can't keep doing that no more. Why? Because he says, he that go on sinning willfully after you receive the knowledge of the truth, remain no sacrifice for sins, but a fearful, how do you say, judgment. He said, he that has this Yahuwah seed in him cannot keep on sinning, because this seed remains in him. So he's like, man, I can't keep doing that. Nope, I ain't going that way. I ain't doing that again. Nope, not doing that. Nope, not doing that. He said, that's how you know. When he said, I'm ruling, he says, ruling my ruach. He says, verse 33, the lot is cast into the lap, but every decision is from Yahuwah. Because he done hid your plan, your purpose, your plan, your devices, your own way. Guess what? It's not your purpose anymore. Every decision is of Yahuwah. Why do you think they inquire? Let's inquire of the word of Yahuwah. The King Yahshua Yahuwah. What we going to go up? We going to do? What we going to do? You know what people do? Every decision in my own way now. He said, therefore, you eat the fruit of your own way. This wisdom of Shaluma, Kukmashi Shaluma 4, 8 through 9. For honorable age is not standing in length of time. So your gray hair ain't got nothing to do with how old you are. Nor that is measured in the number of years. So just because someone got gray hair don't mean nothing. But wisdom is the gray hair unto men and women. Oh, come on. Wisdom. And an unspotted life is old age. Because you know, wisdom was here before the foundation of the world, before the earth even was, before the sea gods was created, before all these things came to be, before even man was imputed in his mind and even commit sin, before all these things were created. He said, wisdom is the gray hair unto me. He said, that's the gray hair. Sirach 6, 18 through 19. My son, gather instruction from thy youth, and thou shalt find wisdom in thine old age. But what did one gather from their youth up? For Timothy said, from a child I've known the scriptures. Right? That's what he said. He said, you must grow up. He said, from a child, what did you learn? So that y'all find wisdom in our old age. So no matter if you, 20, 30, 50, 20, 30, 100 years, 80, 90, 140 years. There's a lady older, like 140 years right now, her 500, 200, 500 years. He said, I want to be the wise. He said, you're supposed to be old, and you're supposed to be wise. Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth. Just like you sowing seed. And wait for her good fruits. Because you got to wait. If you worked properly. For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat the fruits right soon. Because you're going to eat the fruits of your own way. You're going to eat the fruits either Yahuwah's way or your own way. It's just really that simple. But he says what? You're going to eat the fruit soon. Because guess why? Because summer solstice is coming and the summer fruit is coming. Woo. That's when the watermelons, the mango, all the soursop, all the melons, the honeydew, the cantaloupe, all that stuff is coming. Wisdom of Solomon 8, 1 through 16. Now when I consider these things in myself and ponder them in my heart, how that to be allied with Hukmah is immortality, wisdom. This mortal must put on immortality. Immortality is wisdom. when people say they lead a life of strife and quarreling and all these things, they said not respecting the precepts of Yahuwah, not respecting him as a father and mother in the highest Shamayim, then guess what happens? You are yielding yourself to your lower self, your carnal self, your mortal life. It's like Shaul said, when I see do good, evil is right there. It's always going to be there. Verse 18 says, and great pleasure it is to have her friendship. People saying friendship. And if in the works of her hands are infinite riches. Infinite. He said, great is Yahuwah. His understanding is infinite. His wisdom is infinite. It's infinite riches. And in the exercise of conference with her, prudence, and in talking with her, a good report. I went on about seeking how to take her to me. So this is Psalms 126, 3-6. Yahuwah has done great things for us. We are glad. Restore our fortunes, Yahuwah, like the streams of Negev, because all the streams and rivers and streams serve him. He said, restore just like a stream comes and waters the trees planted by the rivers of living water. Those who sow in tears shall reap or kazar with shouts of joy. People so hard-hearted today they can't even cry. When they commit sin and do things wrong, they can't even cry. When they confess their sins, they can't even cry. They can't even cry with other people who cry. They call it, say, you soft. Right? They say all types of things. I mean, Yahushua cried all the time. But guess what? You meet people today, they don't cry. They don't even shed a tear. Because godly, righteous repentance, you ain't got to repent again. He said, what? Because when you start doing it with tears, you start sowing your seed with tears, then you understand what joy is. He said, he who goes on weeping, bearing the seed for sowing, shall come home with shouts of joy. That's the only reason. He said, man, what are you talking about? When you start sowing your seed with bitter weeping, when you start sowing it out here, he said, you're going to come home with shouts of joy. Guess what it says? Bringing his sheaves, his aluma with him. People say, I want something to wave. A grain offering? Are you bearing seed, weeping and bearing seed of sowing? Why do you think Yahushua said that Yahushua was a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief? It was a man as we would hide our faces from. Why would we hide our faces from a man, as Yeshayahu 53 says? Because we're trying to hide from the heat, from the sun. Because he's going to dry up all your will to commit sin and all your strength. It says, he who goes out weeping, bearing the seed for sowing, shall come home with shouts of joy, bringing the sheaves, aluma with him. What do you think we're ready to know? This is the Nazarene Acts of the Shaly'shy, chapter 15. Therefore, demons, as we have just said, when once been able, by means of opportunities offered them to convey themselves through base and evil actions in the bodies of men, women, and child, if they remain in them a long time through their own negligence, because they did not seek after what is profitable for their inner being, their higher self, the celestial self, they necessarily compel them for the future. What goes around comes around in the 364-day cycles in the future to fulfill the desires of the demons that dwell inside of them. To fulfill them. But if you see them trying to fulfill something inside of you and you don't stop yourself, then you're going to fulfill what is their desire inside of you. But if you stop them and you stop yourself, then guess what you just have done? You just now put all beings and all spirits under your feet. But you got to do about it the bar. And not by your own will. But it's what is worst of all, at the end of age, when the demons will be co-signed to ageless fire, the necessity of the Ruach also that obeyed him, because he's eating the fruits of your own way. He said, I'm going to laugh at your calamity when your destruction comes, when your disaster comes. But he said, the Ruach that obeyed him with him will be tortured in ageless fire, together with his body that it has polluted, because he's no longer a virgin anymore. Demons want to, how you say, You now become he said, the prize. The demons want your body so they can have intercourse. So they can get you to worship the sun, moon, and stars. They have sex with you. Sectian stars. They're a bunch of sextian perverts. That's what demons are. They just want to have intercourse with you. That's all they want to do. They want to pollute your virginity. That's all they want to do. They don't want to do nothing else. They want to pollute your virginity. So he's saying, wait, I got to protect my virginity. That's all they want to do. So you got to protect your virginity. There are certain trees out here. That's why they go really much in the thorns. There are certain trees. When you look at a maple tree, when it's trying to grow, the maple tree got thorns on it. You feel like, why they got the thorns up there? That tree got a thorn up for a reason. It's a good tree too. They have it up for a reason. They have them up for a reason. Right, so this is the book. That's the book of Yahusha, sevenfolds of peace. Barak is the child of light, and who is wise in mind, for he shall create the Shamayim. You're gonna eat the fruit of your labors, just like the Father did in the beginning. We read in Enoch 82. He said he did all that. He said before it even was there, and he ceased from all his work. You're gonna create. You're gonna do the same thing your Father do. The mind of the wise is a well-plowed field, which giveth forth abundance and plenty. For if thou showest a handful of seeds to a wise man or woman, he will see in his mind's eye a field of golden wheat. Why? Because they're now sowing the seed. How he say with sorrow and weeping, they're gonna reap joy. If thou showest a handful of seeds to a fool, a stupid person, hey stupid Yasharal, what are you doing stoning me when I'm not even Yirmiyahu? You stoning the son of Yahuwah. When you give it to a bunch of fools, what do? He will see only that which is before him and call them worthless pebbles. Man, I'm lazy. And guess what happens? They're going to have a whole bunch of thorn bushes, thistle bushes. As the field of the wise man giveth forth grain in abundance, that's what we're getting ready to do. And the field of the fool is a harvest of stones. So it is with our thoughts, your consciousness, your mind, your stony heart, your stony mind, your stony heart. Oh, hard-hearted people. Can't even shed a tear. He said, you hard-hearted people. As the sheath of the golden wheat lies hidden within the tiny kernel, so it is the Malkuth, the Shamayim, hidden within our thoughts. If they be filled with power and love and wisdom, the infinite wisdom of the Malachim and Shamayim Father, so shall they carry us to the Shamayim seat. But if they be stained with corruption and hatred and ignorance, they shall chain our feet to pillars of pain and suffering. No man can serve two masters. Because even the flowers, the trees, the rivers, the streams, the seasonal cycles, the animals, the fish of the sea, the fowls, every creeping thing, all the Ramis, the god, the behemoth, and the oath, they all serve Yahuwah. In the streams and the rivers and the streams and the mountains, even every single jagged before they even made Yahuwah was here. Even the luminary alignments and all the things you see, and the star alignments and the constellations, from the first Shamayim all the way to the seventh Shamayim, they all serve him. Even Sheol itself, even Mastama, even Listirax, and Asmodeus. All of the spirits of trickery, and all the jumpers, and all the beings in this world that all go and move according to the direction of Yahuwah, they all serve him. But he said nobody can serve two masters. And amazingly, they all serve Yahuwah, and they all do what he said. Even they go be a lion spirit, they do everything he says. The only people who ain't doing what he says is the people. The only people who ain't doing what he says is the humans. Neither can the evil thought abide in the mind filled with the light of the Torah. No evil thought. So if you got an evil thought, you need to go find something to fill that thing up with the Torah. If you have an evil thought against someone, go find anything in the Torah and seek it out and fill your mind with it. If you lack love, go into the Torah and find all the things about love and do it. All the things about things, seek it out. If you lack compassion, you lack mercy. If you stubborn, he said, go seek out all the things in there to fill your mind with not being stubborn. If you a hatred against someone, or bitterness, resentment, go fill your mind with the light of the Torah, right? That you may not be filled with it. If you like exploiting people and practicing extortion and using people's name to slander and use it to make yourself famous, make yourself something, matter of fact, go find your mind in the Torah. Go look in the Torah. Go find yourself, keep yourself in a humility state, and go apologize to these people. Right? These are all a part of it. Neither can an evil thought be filled in mind with the light of the Torah. Keep the commandments. Stay busy. Why? Because it keeps your mind busy. It keeps your mind thoughts on the aluminum, on the sheath, on the rashith, on the actual offerings. It keeps your mind busy on the things that you need to do. Be a servant. Stay clean. Have just balances. Just weight. Just mazon. Just ephah. And just bath. Right? All these are a part of it. He who has found shalom with the mind have learned to soar beyond the realm of the malakim. You learned to soar beyond the realm of the malakim. Know the shalom with thy heart. Fulfill this peace with thy body. Not the peace of throwing people in prison like the king of Yahshua Ahal did, because he didn't want it to go up and he couldn't go up because Yahuwah is like, I sent a lion spirit, and the man got upset. He trying to turn you at his reproof. I'm trying to stop your purpose. He's saying, why are you doing that? Or you gonna be thinking of somebody else? You gonna be like the king of Assyria. I mean, them people like Yasharal was just like the king of Assyria and his soldiers. Thinking one thing, it wasn't even like that. Right? It's all of Yukonon 1:24-27. Let what you heard from the beginning abide in you. And what you've heard from the beginning abides in you, then you too will abide in the Son and the Father. Why? Because everybody gonna eat the fruit of the trees, herb yielding seed that he gave a man to eat for food, whether it's carnally or whether it's spiritually. And guess what? He said, I'm gonna let you eat the fruit of your own labor and your own work. Because you're gonna eat the fruit and the seed that come with it, from the seed that come with it. If it's of your own way or if it's of me. If I didn't sow it, you still gonna eat it. So whatever you sowed in your mind and Yahuwah didn't sow in you, and guess what? You're gonna eat the fruits thereof. If you ain't producing any fruit, you be like, man, why I ain't producing any fruit? No, I sowed good seed in you. It's just the fact that the weeds are choking the growth that you sowed. Because Satan sowed it in you. Because you are Satan. He says what? And this is the promise that he has made to us, eternal life. I write these things about those who are trying to deceive you. Right? Because why do we say that? Because he didn't Nakash. Because remember Nakash in the garden, the only thing that Nakash and the deceptive want to do is to go be a lion spirit in all these prophets and not be Eve. Matter of fact, go be a lion spirit in the serpent, the other being, and deceive somebody. But that's what happened in the garden. He said, I'm afraid, man. But you see all these Nakashas and lion spirits and not be Eve out here? Of all these different religions and all these different things, all these different sects and all these different things, you see all these lion spirits? And guess what? They're going to sow inside of you and they're going to have that thoughts inside of your consciousness. You get what he said, man. I'm writing these things about those who are trying to deceive you. But the anointing that you receive from him abides in you. You got the seed on the inside of you. It already is in you. And you have no need. The seed is already in you. It produces. It's just like the season. It keeps producing. It goes down, goes up. Goes down, go up. Fruits, winter, fall, summer, winter, all the different seasons. Boom, 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 boom. It's automatic. It's on autopilot. Just like the third day of creation. The fourth day, the fifth day, the sixth day. It's on autopilot. He said, you have no need. If the seed is in you. Or you'll be forever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. He says, but abides in you, and you have no need that anyone should teach you. But as his anointing teaches you about everything, and it's true, and it's no lie. Why do you think he said, Micaiah, man, he never said anything. Man, everything he said, man, go be a lion spirit in all the prophets, and the Nabi Yad, and Nabi Im. Why? Because they all lion spirits. But he said, when Yahuwah talks, it's the truth. It's no lie. Because Micaiah said, if you come back in peace, he ain't spoken about me. He said, why are they trying to turn us from the proof and trying to turn us from destruction? Because it's no lie. Just as it is taught you, abide in him. He said, abide in him. Or you'll be a lying spirit. And guess what? You still gotta obey Yahuwah. I'm gonna go lie on this person. I'm gonna make something up. I'm gonna make it turn small things great and have the spirit of hatred. He's like, you still working for Yahuwah. You just don't know it. It says no lie, just as it taught you, abide in him. Right? So we look at Yahushua Mashiach, look at waving the sheaf. We look at the grain offering too. Look at Chag Shabbat. But he said, if you heed my reproof, he said, I want to pour my ruach on you. The only way I can pour my ruach on you, I gotta reprove you. In order for you to go to the next level after that, I gotta reprove you again. And after you go to the next level after that, I gotta reprove you again. Like people have all these heights and things they want to reach, but reproof and correction is going to take place all the way your ascension, all the way up. Because nothing just happens in life. Nothing just happens. Everything happens for a reason. It's only there to make one grow and make one become a master of oneself. That you can be a master yourself. That's the whole point. To master yourself. Right? So, but just as the anointing teaches you about everything, and it's true, and there's no lie, just as it taught you about in him. But we don't want to say make the wrong in judgment. You be thinking one thing, thinking one is the king of Yasharal, thinking one is the king of Yasharal, thinking one think that's Yerim Yahu, you be thinking this, and you be like, man, you really doing that to Yahuwah himself and his son Yahusha. Because they are allied. And to be allied with wisdom is immortality. So we look at the life, we look at the light of life, we look at the heat of the sun as we move toward the summer solstice. That's what's going to give you growth within yourself. Because he prepared a tent has prepared itself for the Shamash. Even as Kaf said, he said no prophecy, he said any private interpretation. He said until the day dawn and day star arise in your heart. Right? Until it actually arisen in your thoughts, in your body. Right? So everything that happens for a reason. So let the light of Yahushua Mashiach shine in your heart. Right? For this is the gate to eternal life. For the meek shall inherit the earth. Right? The meek shall inherit the earth.